Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Listen here, this is a fact of life. I be rapping like Nat Turner came back to life. Grab Donald Trump by the pussy, he ain't acting right. I never run from a conflict, I be glad to fight. It's a very cold world that we living in. Somebody please tell Elizabeth you're not an Indian. You just trying to con them people to get the benefit. Just another immigrant, stealing from the Indians. That's some punk ass shit and that's too lame. Now we finna step over to Andrew Yang. And you a sucker, you can never speak for black folks. Fake ass pandering, trying to get the black vote. The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You know your boy be high off sativa. Kamala wasn't popping, so we said bye, Felicia. She ain't had a right policy. We ain't trying to meet her. Y'all can take Biden too. Bye, we don't need her. We don't need Roland Martin or that coon Al Sharpton. Didn't need Cory Booker from the start, man. I don't fuck with police and no snitch. You know I'm coming with the heat when I spit it. The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. If you ever go to court and this is your luck, try not to get fucked by Benjamin Crump. I know it's hard. You and all go is hard. But who the fuck is Amy Cloak? Put her picture up on the bullseye and start throwing darts. People cut our organs out our bodies, that's a stolen heart. They can't save us from the flood like Noah's Ark. Black lives always matter, we finna go for ours. So then we savages, we don't need to pot the piss. Mike Bloomberg can suck dick with that stop and frisk, bitch. You ain't speaking for us, we don't know you. Bernie Sanders, they get your funky ass on too. The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me.
I'm talking about shout it going crazy. People going crazy in them motherfuckers. Run that shit back, man.
But it means nothing. Nothing. Got a woman on the day. Man made the car. Man made the train to carry the heavy load. Man made the electrolyte to kick us out of the dark. Man made the boat for the water like the 7 million. Man thinks about a little bit of baby girl and a baby boy. And man makes them happy because man makes them strong. But after man make everything we can, do you know that man makes money? To buy from other men. This is a man's world. But
I'm talking about shout it going crazy. People going crazy in them motherfuckers. Run that shit back, man.
But it means nothing. Nothing. Got a woman on the day. Man made the car. Man made the train to carry the heavy load. Man made the electrolyte to take us out of the dark. Man made the boat for the water like the seven no omega. Man thinks about a little bit of baby girl and a baby boy. And man make them happy because man make them joy. But after man make everything we can, do you know that man makes money? To buy from other men. This is a man's world. But
Greetings, Black family, greetings. And thank y'all for tuning into this special edition of the Front Line Blacc News of Season 5, Episode 6. And I'm your host, Che Nkrumah. And we're joined with the other host, Lady Che. Say hi to the people, Lady Che.
Hi. Just in my own little world right
It's
here.
a special Thursday night edition of the Front Line Blacc News.
Wait, let me say something.
Go ahead, Lady Che.
Usually, well, before everything had got really
Hey, Mac 285.
I used to do RBAs on the Thursdays, but today it was like it just asked if I want to do a show. I was like the RBA or
Front Line Blacc News special
for
edition.
like special, and he said this one. I was like, cool, because my internet is on.
You said you sound good.
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm in a good ass mood.
Yeah.
Been in a good mood for a couple of days, so I'm in a good mood. About to go make us some supper here shortly.
And she's gonna make us some din-dins.
Yep. I'll go after the second topic, but I'll be quick.
Okay. Alrighty.
I get my little speaker together so that I can go cook to some jams.
Yeah. That's always fun.
I get my little speaker together so.
Okay. What's that there?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, and on this Season 5, Episode 6 special edition of Front Line Blacc News, we'll be discussing several topics that happened this week in between shows, and that is Smokey Hill. Oh my God. Smokey Robinson accused in assault lawsuit. Rodney Hinton Jr., a case of temporary insanity. Shiloh Hendrix, the latest bigot to monetize racism. And former cops found not guilty in Tyre Nichols' murder trial. Please join us on STREAMYARD, YouTube, Frontline Blacc News. Links to all of our channels are in the chat, including J Millie's and Cookiesi's. Please support the GoFundMe as well. And we also have the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. We do not own the rights to the music. If you want to create live streams like this, please check out StreamYard. And if you don't understand racism, white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else that you think you understand will only confuse you in all 9 areas of human activity. And those are
Labor.
no, economics,
Economics.
education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, sex, war, and religion, and some say health and nutrition. And then we got racism, white supremacy as RP to Nelly Fuller Jr. Racism, white supremacy is conscious and subconscious behavior to maintain white genetic survival to prevent white genetic annihilation. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, also rest in power to her, and produce justice. So the first topic, like I said, is Smokey Robinson. So Smokey Robinson of the Miracles of Tears of a Clown is now facing sexual assault charges or allegations of sexual assault. So Professor Black, who's gonna give us the update? I'm trying to who I have in the queue for this. Oh, Lisa's gonna give us the update on this. Shout out to Lisa Cabrera. Yeah, that's what I heard. My case manager was trying to tell me something about that. He is a raccoon. She is.
But he still do the work of the fucking
and he's a Democratic shield.
He doesn't work in the devil.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of trouble these days that are.
Oh, we're having a whole conversation.
You know, I don't know what it is, y'all. It's not the younger guys getting in a lot of trouble these days that are celebrities. It seems like these older men are, it's like, what's up already? So anyway, Smokey Robinson has been accused of violating 4 of his staff. And, all 4 were Mexican women that are suing him. And, ladies and gentlemen, I heard stories about Smokey Robinson years ago. I know when he was in his first marriage, that ended because of all of his womanizing and cheating. In fact, one of the people he had an affair with was Diana Ross. Him and Diana Ross had an affair. And that was she was one among other women that he was running around with. And I think his ex-wife just grew tired of it and she got out of that whole thing. And you got to also factor in, he is part Esau, y'all. Smokey Robinson got a white mother and a black father. So, that Esau is in him too. So, and we know when it comes down to violating women, when you look at the FBI report, we know who the biggest violator of women is, and it's not our men. Okay? It's not our men. So, yeah. And I just can't believe at 84, if it's true, you would think an 84-year-old man would be kind of chilling out, and enjoying life, what's left of it at least. You wouldn't think he would be doing this. Now, his wife is also part of the lawsuit because they are alleging that she knew, he's biracial. And actually take a good look at him. Look at his hair and his features. You can kind of see it. Yeah, he has a white mother. He said he had a white mother. And anyway, because, him and Diana Ross, when they were growing up in Detroit, they were neighbors. And he said he was the only one on the street that had a white mother. All the other, families had black mothers on the street. He was the only one with a white mother in the hood. So anyway, y'all, like I said, his wife is being accused because these women are saying she knew what was going on and she did nothing to step in. She didn't try to step in. She didn't try to stop it. She just was oblivious about the whole thing. So I mean, it's really jacked up if this is true. You know, I hope for his sake it's not, because when it comes down to a melanated man, he is still a melanated man in the eyes of these folks. They don't care if he's in his 80s. They'll lock his butt up. Look at what they did to Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was in his 80s. Did they hesitate to put him behind bars? And they're not going to hesitate to put Smokey Robinson behind bars either. They don't care about our men like that. They don't care at all. So, yeah, they're going for $50 million. That's what they're suing him for. Now, according to them, you know, he took them to the part of the mansion that didn't have cameras, and that's why. But from what I understand, even in doing that, there were some things that were caught on camera. Now, they didn't go into detail what it was, but from what I'm gathering, there were some things caught on camera that he did. So I'm sure as the weeks roll by, there'll be more coming out about this for real. You know, I'm sure there'll be more. But it's a shame when you make it to 84 years old and you get to, you know, you're accused of being an you're assaulting women, and they're saying it's serial. It's serial. Like, you got a major, major problem. And you know how it is, y'all. These are the 4 you just heard of for now. It's no telling how many women are going to crawl out of the woodwork. Okay? It's no telling how many, because that very same thing happened to Bill Cosby. It seemed like every week there were more women bubbling to the surface, more women. And I would not doubt it in the case of Smokey Robinson as well. If he is violating women, I know it's got to be well beyond these women. Usually that is the case, but we shall see what unfolds. I do have a video I'm going to show you. And all right, let me share my screen. Okay. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see the screen. Okay. Thank you. All right, let's get started.
Serious allegations leveled against Motown legend Smokey Robinson. Claims by 4 former employees, including sexual assault and hostile work environment over a period of years. KCAL's Lucelia Caballero reports on why these accusations are coming to light now.
We believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick rapist that must be stopped.
Attorney John Harris revealing the accusations against Motown legend Smokey Robinson.
I will not describe the details of the sexual assaults and rapes because they're too graphic and disturbing for this news conference.
All 4 of Robinson's alleged victims have chosen to remain unnamed and are referred to as Jane Doe in the complaint.
Our 4 clients have a common thread. They're Hispanic women who were employed as housekeepers by the Robinsons, earning below minimum wage.
The accusations against the music legend include sexual battery, false imprisonment, gender violence, and creating a hostile work environment.
We're seeking damages of $50 million.
The complaint also claiming one of the Jane Does was first sexually assaulted in 2007 and that these acts continued until she resigned in 2024. According to the complaint, Robinson's former housekeeper claims in the lawsuit that she was sexually assaulted not even 2 months after she started cleaning the couple's Los Angeles mansion. Another Jane Doe claims Robinson started sexually assaulting her in 2016, claiming when she was home alone with the singer at his Los Angeles mansion, he would text her and ask her to meet at places in the house that didn't have cameras. The woman alleges he would then sexually assault her.
We do have evidence of some of the misconduct.
The complaint says the former employees didn't speak out or go to police because they were afraid of losing their livelihood, familial reprisal, and the possible adverse effect on their immigration status.
And having to tell their husband and children of these despicable acts against them left them overwhelmed with shame and embarrassment.
Robinson's wife, Frances, also named in the lawsuit, accused of creating a hostile work environment and being aware of what was alleged and not doing anything to stop it.
These 4 courageous women want and demand justice for themselves, and the filing of this lawsuit is the first step.
The complaint also accuses the Robinsons of not paying proper wages. And we reached out to Robinson's record label about these allegations. We're still waiting to hear back. Reporting in downtown Los Angeles, Lucelia Caballero, PayPal News.
Okay. So, Shanna, I saw what you wrote. You said, I'm going to need hard evidence. You don't need hard evidence in America. Just go back and reflect on Bill Cosby. You don't need hard evidence in this country. All right. Bill Cosby should have told you that. So, I mean, those women came up out of the woodwork from the 60s and 70s, and
yep, I remember.
You know, they didn't even have the R kit done, nothing.
They had to,
and they were still able to get money out of him and shake him down. And look at Janice Dickerson. She lied altogether and made up some story about what Bill Cosby did to her, and it never happened. And she was still able to get money. So in this country, when you are a melanated man, even a half melanated man, they don't need a lot of evidence. The word of these women will supersede anything he says. That is the way it is. And that's the way it went down for Bill Cosby. Under very similar circumstances, this is what happened, and it was nothing but their word and nothing more than that. So yes, so you may need more evidence, but the law don't seem to need more evidence at all. They don't need it at all. And then you'll have the usual, why would they all lie? Well, you can get a lot of people to lie when it comes down to money. Sure you can. That's easy. If there's a lot of money involved and the man is a millionaire, and they know, they probably seen how extravagant him and his wife live. They work right inside their mansion, so they know how extravagant they live. So, you know, he's a millionaire. Break me off a piece now. Now, do I think he might have done something? Judging from his womanizing past that I've heard about before, it's highly likely. But look, at the end of the day, he still gets his day in court. And that's if it goes to court. He may settle this thing outside of court. It may never make it there. So we shall see. I'm sure it's going to be in the media for the next several months, just like Bill Cosby. So, but see, my question is, when he started doing that, they just kept showing up for work. That's where I got an issue with the women. Okay, let's say he did violate you. Well, no, but like I said, just hold tight, blind focus. You're just hearing about this circumstance. Me, what I'm interested in is how many more women are going to come forward. That's what I'm looking at.
This is crazy.
That's what I'm looking at. But I'm just telling you of the kind of past this man had. That's all. Maybe it don't. Maybe it does. Arnold Schwarzenegger did the same thing, if you remember.
Yeah,
he did the same thing and fathered a child with his maid. So these things are not as uncommon as you think. These circumstances are very common. If you remember, when he was married to Maria Shriver, he had an affair with the maid and they had a child.
Yeah, it sure did, Lisa.
So I guess he grabbed what was accessible to him. Those women that showed up. See, like I said, the only problem I have with their story is if he was violating you, why the hell did you let him start violating you and you just kept showing up for work? And you kept showing up for work. What, you can't find somebody else's house to clean?
File paperwork and do all this book.
You know, those jobs are usually a dime a dozen. You can find somebody's house to clean, even if they're rich people, even if they're rich people that are non-celebrity. There's a lot of them that have housekeepers, a lot of wealthy people we never heard of because they're not celebrities, but they got money. You know, that's the only problem I have. I got a problem with you've been violated and you just kept showing up at this man's house as if that's the only job in town you could get.
Whatever that was.
Even as an undocumented worker, you know, there's still opportunities out there for them. We know it is because that's why they invite them here in the first place. Because there's always opportunities for them. Right, most do. Even rich people that are just business people, they will have housekeepers too. But they're not all violating their housekeepers. And I just got a problem with these women whining about being violated, and you just kept showing up every day to let him do it. If it's true, that's where I kind of got a problem with these women. You know, and you just don't let nobody violate you every day. Come on, man. You just don't. So one said it started, I think, 2002, and she quit in 2024. That's a long time to be letting a person violate you. That's a long time. So that's the only problem I have. I don't know how many of you feel about this whole thing. It just seems unfortunate that a man his age would be in the news for this particular reason. And why? You know, I mean, what? Just to end up like this, and these women are saying you're serial on top of that. So they said so far, Smokey Robinson has not given a statement on what he's been accused of. So we know he is definitely a Motown legend. I mean, he was there almost as long as Motown was there. And he didn't start out singing. He was a writer and producer. The singing came a little later. But, you know, he wrote a lot of hits. I mean, it's no doubt the man had musical talent. He wrote a lot of the hits that came out of Motown, especially for Tammy Tyrell and Marvin Gaye. He wrote a lot of those songs and produced a lot of those songs. You know, the man is super talented, and I just hate to see something like this happen, but damn. You mean to tell me you don't have no self-control? I hope that's not the case. So the lawsuit is $50 million. Four of Robinson's housekeepers have accused the 84-year-old R&B legend and his wife, Frances Robinson, of multiple crimes, including battery, assault, false imprisonment, and gender violence. So they said he was not only, you know, raping them, he was violent with them too. The shocking allegations span from 2007 to 2024. Each of the women described being attacked in a blue bedroom inside his home. So only one he did respond to was the Daily Mail. He said he was appalled and can't speak about this right now. While Robinson didn't want to elaborate on the lawsuit, the complaint alleged that Smokey repeatedly forced his fingers, his pee, into their V, causing severe and excruciating pain. without consent. According to the docs obtained by Extra, Robinson used physical barriers, threats of force to stop the women from leaving during the S assaults.
Yeah.
One of the women, Jane Doe 1,
Yeah.
claimed in a complaint that Francis had full knowledge of his prior acts of misconduct and failed to take the appropriate corrective action to block his deviant misconduct. The woman claimed that the first S assault incident against her occurred in 2023. After her first alleged incident, she allegedly faced repeated S assaults and S harassment. Another woman, Jane Doe 2, claimed that she was forced to resign in 2020 after 6 years of working for Robinson. Starting in 2016, she alleged that she dealt with repeat S assaults and S harassment. In the complaint, Jane Doe 3 alleged Robinson raped her at least 20 times while she was working for him between 2022 through 2024. Jane Doe 4 claims she quit in 2024 after 17 years due to continued S assaults, S harassment from Robinson, who she alleged first forced her into his bedroom and raped her in 2007. The women also accusing the Robinson of creating a hostile work environment. As for why the women didn't report the incident in question, the doc stated that the women were scared of losing their livelihood, reprisal, public embarrassment, shame, humiliation, and they were also concerned about their immigration status. You know what? I understand, but none of these reasons justify going back and serving yourself up to this man over and over and over. I'm sorry, even with the reasons they gave, to me, it's still not good enough. You should have cared more about yourself and left that place and just kept looking until you found another job. I'm sure there's always rich people looking for help. Okay, I find it hard to believe that that is a job that's hard to find. I would imagine these maids and butlers and whatever kind of household help, those jobs are probably a dime a dozen. I'm just saying, y'all. Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. Black Cougar. All right. Let me see what you wrote here. I saw that you were going to talk about this on your channel, Sister Lisa, and I waited to hear your commentary. Well, worth it too, satisfied Patreon supporter. Thank you so much for your support for my channel. I deeply appreciate it. And you're one of the people that's been around for a long time too. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, even chefs. I mean, chefs come and go. These folks got a whole staff. They got personal assistants, they got housekeepers, they got chefs. Some of them got butlers and, you know, and they got a head housekeeper. And I mean, they got all that stuff. They got all that stuff. They even got people that just work on their cars and keep their cars serviced for them. They do all of that. They got drivers. They got all that stuff. That's what rich people have. So those jobs are always available. And a lot of times those staffing agencies out there in California, they know how to hire people for these wealthy folks and just interview them and then set them up for those kind of jobs. That's why I don't understand why these women kept going. If you can get those kind of jobs through an agency, why not just go to an agency and see if you can get another job? That's where they dropped the ball for me. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. A shout out to Queen Amadaya. I spoke to her a few days ago, and it's always a pleasure to talk to her.
Subscribe. Darling Radio. Like and subscribe.
Legendary Motown musician Smokey Robinson faces allegations of sexual assault from housekeepers who sued him on Tuesday for $50 million. His wife Frances is also accused of covering up the abuse and verbally abusing employees with racial slurs. Robinson's representatives did not immediately respond to requests for comment, and Reuters could not verify the claims. The plaintiffs are 4 Hispanic women using Jane Doe pseudonyms in the lawsuit. They accused 85-year-old Robinson of sexual battery, assault, false imprisonment, and gender violence at his Los Angeles home from 2007 to 2024. 3 of them appeared wearing face masks at a Los Angeles press conference, while the 4th joined remotely. John Harris is an attorney at Harris and Hayden Law Firm.
These courageous 4 women have collectively decided to come forward with their experiences of sexually assaulted by Mr. Smokey Robinson and stand up for their rights, as well as the rights of other women.
Harris explained the delay in reporting, emphasizing the women's financial and emotional struggles.
The obvious question that one will ask, and I suspect most will, why didn't they report Robinson's criminal misconduct to law enforcement or go public before now? As I said before, these women were all low-wage earners living from paycheck to paycheck. They all feared missing a payday and not being able to pay their rent or buy food for their families. Also, Smokey's Robinson celebrity status intimidated them and all made them feel powerless.
Jane Doe 1 accused Robinson of sexually assaulting her at least 7 times, with the last incident on February 17, 2024, 2 days before his 84th birthday. The other plaintiffs made similar claims, with Jane Doe's 2 and 3 alleging at least 20 assaults each. Their lawyers say they welcome a criminal investigation, but haven't heard from prosecutors. Representatives of Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Robinson rose to fame in the 1960s as the singer of Tears of a Clown and a key figure in Motown's rise. He recorded over 30 hits solo and with the Miracles, a group of his Detroit schoolmates.
Let's get Nandy Rain. Nandy Rain in the building. Nandy Rain in the building. All right, Nandy, where you at, dear? All right. While we're waiting on Nandy to unmute that microphone, everybody give me some hands. Throw them. There she go. What's up, Nandy?
Hi, Tariq. How are you?
I'm good, Miss Nandy. How are you?
I am doing great. Just want to say thank you for all that you do. But I also wanted to bring attention to the fact that they have come at our good FBA brother, Smokey Robinson, with rape allegations.
Yeah. Let me get on that. Yes, thank you, sister. Family, did y'all hear about that? Man, they done came at Smokey. Smokey's 85 years old. Smokey's 85, and they didn't hit Smokey with some rape allegations, ladies and gentlemen. Family, first of all, and basically they said it's like 4 former employees, 3 of them were immigrants, and they were saying that the women didn't come forward because they were afraid that they might get deported or something like that. But family, listen, like people are saying, Black icons, they don't let them get out the game clean. they're going to make sure to sully the name and the image of Black icons. Now, Smokey is an icon. And they sat up here and waited. This man is in the last few years of his life, not saying that in a bad way, but he's 85. And Smokey's, he's still performing. And I saw a viral video like a few weeks ago of Smokey on stage. He creeping out, a little skinny thing out there, creeping out on stage. He's frail and older now, so.
Yeah.
And then they gonna hit Smokey with this nonsense. Listen, they always have to. This is a way to stain the legacy, to twist up the bag and the resources. Listen, they always do this to Black icons. They got to undermine their legacy and rewrite history. A clean, celebrated Black legacy that challenges the white supremacist narrative of moral, cultural, and intellectual superiority. So if you smear a Black icon, the system ensures that future generations remember controversy, not their contribution. So instead of now, they're going to do this in the last years of this man's life. So when they talk about Smokey now, instead of just talking about all of those phenomenal hits he wrote in the 60s, 70s, and it's changing the musical lexicon, they're going to be talking about these janky-ass sexual assault cases now. Forever. Because what they also want to do, man, this is a way to block some generational wealth transfer too.
You have one too.
See, when you defame a Black icon later in life, just like they did with our brother Cosby, what you do, that entangles their estate in legal warfare. You understand? So all of those delays, that prevents them from passing down the wealth to their Black descendants. See, that reinforces that the racial wealth gap, it's going to go back into white hands because it's going to be disruptive. You see, they know what they're doing when they do little shit like that, just like with Diddy. I don't believe none of this shit with Diddy. That's why folks got to stop co-signing what these white supremacists are doing. They're tying up Diddy's estate. I hope Diddy is found not guilty because they haven't yet explained exactly what Diddy did that was illegal. They just keep putting out innuendos. They were like, yeah, we just got the Diddy freak off list. Look at all the names on here. All right, Diddy had parties. He was infamous for having parties. Just because people showed up to his parties don't mean that there were freak offs. So they're doing all of this stuff to tie up resources, and that's what they're doing with Smokey.
Right.
This is going to tie the resources up, tie up the money in the estates.
Just before 3 o'clock.
Because although Satin and Smokey wrote a whole bunch of hits, I mean, this man's songs are timeless. Man, this man's songs are used in movies and commercials and the whole nine. So that Smokey's catalog is going to make money into perpetuity. Right. That man has a phenomenal catalog.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're trying to tie all that up. And also to sully the brother's name, that kind of reasserts control over Black narratives. So when you smear Black legends, that's a form of narrative control.
FBA too.
See, that allows the white media to kind of shape how these icons are remembered. And by minimizing their brilliance and maximizing these janky allegations, that's the whole purpose of it. Yeah.
Didn't he recently
But the thing is, they gotta own the cultural narrative. They have to control Black icons, even in death or when they're about to die, when they only have a few years left. So yeah, these scandals, that grants them legal and moral power to kind of intervene in the legacy, take over the estate. They did that with Prince.
Yeah.
Prince, I think they're still doing janky shit about Prince's estate. When he died, his estate was all tied up with a bunch of shit. When Michael Jackson died, I think his estate is, Michael's been dead, what, 15 years?
Yeah.
Damn near 20 years, and his estate is still shit going on with that. The money is all tied up and flipped up and just going all over the place. That's what this is about, man. They have to tarnish that collective memory of Black excellence. You know, when the one black legend is scandalized, you know, that kind of creates a ripple effect, and then that starts casting doubt on all black greatness. So we got to be very careful not to jump on the attack dog bandwagon when we have black icons being attacked by the dominant society with allegations that seem false. Yeah, just the fact that these people came out as a group against an 85-year-old man. I mean, what is he? How is he? I mean, I'm pretty sure he has to pop a Viagra. You dig, and wait a few minutes before some assault can get down. You ain't really boning him like that at no 85. I don't believe that.
Right.
Yeah. But listen, here's another aspect of this thing too. With these allegations, and when they said something very interesting when I saw a little press conference, and they were saying that the women didn't want to come forward because they were concerned about their immigration status. That raised a red flag, because now, is this an immigration finesse? In addition to tying up his estate, is this an immigration finesse?
I think you're correct, Tariq.
Because we got to understand something, family. Victim-based immigration pathways like the U visa, that exists. See, under U.S. law, immigrants who claim to be victims of crimes like sexual assault or whatever, you're eligible for a U visa. And that grants you like temporary legal status and like a fast pass to a green card. Yeah. So those visas they were designed to kind of protect real victims, but the people, they exploit them shits with fabricated claims. And listen, when these immigrants, when they claim victimhood, that can block deportation. See, once an immigrant alleges that they've been victimized, especially at the hands of a high-profile U.S. citizen, you're often shielded from deportation pending an investigation. So that gives the accuser time and legal leverage to kind of secure long-term residence, regardless of what the outcome is going to be. So now you good. You ain't going to get deported if there's an investigation. Y'all better understand the scams that go on with this shit. Yeah. And then civil lawsuits. These folks are out here finessing civil lawsuits. Man. And listen, if Smokey dies anytime soon, they can really go nuts with the allegations, and then these immigrants can get the money tied up with the estate, trying to get some money from the wife, because Smokey has a wife, or trying to get money from the children. They can tie that whole estate up, these damn tethers, trying to finesse a bag. So man, it's very interesting to see how this plays out. But that's unfortunate. I don't believe that, though. I don't believe that. It's just the timing of it. And they always do this to black icons. They always do it. All right. Let me get who is this? Smoke Break. Let's get Smoke Break. Smoke Break in the building. Mr. Smoke Break. Waiting on his phone to pop up. All right, while we're waiting on Smoke Break. Mr. Smoke Break. Let's go down and let's get African Supremacy. Smoke Break or African Supremacy, either one.
Supremacy's a teller.
African Supremacy, you want to get on? All right, both of them are trying to get their phone together.
Yeah, well, it's obviously the Jews that's messing with black Americans.
The Jews?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they messing with y'all over there too?
That's why Kanye is making songs targeting Jewish people.
Right.
Why don't you use your logic?
So why did you flee to Britain?
Why are you always...
Why did you flee to Britain?
Why are you a 50-year-old troll?
Why are you a musty 13-year-old, but you're really 48? And you're in junior high school. Why are you 48 years old in junior high school playing for the junior varsity basketball team? And you got and you old as hell, lying about your age, huh?
Why do you have pussy?
only people who had pussy was your granddad at the immigration office. That's how he got you to the UK. He had to work that pussy up at the home office.
I don't know any 50-year-old man that talks about pussy the way you talk about
do, sir.
You're sus.
You, sir. I don't know any 50-year-old tether who calls up whining to another man and then talking about pussy like you, sir. You're a fleeing, whining tether who's failed. After talking about some damn Jews. Dude, please. You up there broke and dusty in the UK driving Uber on the left side of the road.
No, I'm actually in Dubai right now, and I'm 27.
You're not in Dubai.
So
You're not in Dubai. You're not in Dubai.
Do you want me to post something right now?
Post something right now. Post your camel. Post your camel right now.
No, I'm a post where I am right
post
now.
Post your camel. All right.
But as I was saying, why do you think Kanye is making songs called Hell Hitler? Why? Why didn't you use your logic?
Why did you flee from your homeland? And why are you worried about some damn Kanye? Y'all worried about everything else except fixing that dilapidated homeland you fled from. Why don't you worry about that?
You're a weird guy.
Why don't you worry about that? Y'all never never fix your homeland. You always somewhere as a damn refugee somewhere. Talking about what we doing over here. Why don't you fix your homeland, dude? For real.
My homeland is, well, I don't even want to talk about my homeland.
I know you don't. That's the problem. People. You want to talk about everything else except your damn failure. Why don't y'all fix them damn dilapidated homelands instead of whining about foundational Black Americans? We don't need advice from you. You're over there as a refugee somewhere, God knows where. You have a British accent, sir, so you've been to Britain. So
where's your homeland?
Here, and I've never fled. My homeland is here. Right here and nowhere else, sir.
All right. Now go ahead and get some deodorant and get up off here, sir. Want to hear all that shit? These tethers stay whining about us.
Yeah, they do.
Hey, how come Kanye? How come you are shitting in the streets in your homeland? Don't worry about us. We're fine. We're not living in shanty towns and fleeing all over the place.
Right.
And I don't even want to hear your bad faith argument. I don't even want to hear it. Anti-communist, what's happening? Anti-communist, what is happening?
Anti-communist.
Hey, brother, how are you?
Good, man. Where are you? Are you in a truck?
I am. Let me get you off the. I'll put you on.
Okay, well,
normal.
What country or city are you in?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Where are you? What country are you in?
Australia.
Oh, okay. How's everything out there, man?
Going all right.
Okay, yeah. I have to get you later, man. It's too loud over there. It sounds like you're in there with some kangaroos and a koala bear. I don't know what you're doing over there. There's too much going on. He's out there driving around the outback.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you're doing over there. All right, let me get Jordan. This is one of Myron Gaines' folks. Jordan.
Oh, Lord.
What's up, Jordan?
That's what I forgot to talk about.
Yeah. Jordan, what's going on with it, man?
We'll say that first.
Every day I gotta come in here and I gotta hear it's the Jews, nigga. All the time.
Oh my God.
Annoying, man.
Very much so. So what's going on with the bread, man? Y'all any leeway with it? Because the price is now $60,000. So
how did it go for $10,000?
Yeah, because Myron is on Pierce with my name in his mouth. So the price is up. That means there's value. So the price is up. So it's $60K. Any leeway? Any progress yet?
Yeah, I actually had somebody reach out on your behalf already.
Okay.
Yeah, they sent me an email. How did the price go up? Dog, I was sleeping. How the price go up? I'm sleeping.
What I'm saying. Every time anybody mentions it, everybody keep coming in here mentioning a debate or whatever. Myron mentions my name and all that. The price is gonna go up. Yeah, so that means it's value.
So anytime an influencer mentions your name, the price is going up $1,000 a day.
When they start mentioning my name, talking about me and Myron debating again. So that means that's going to show more value. That's going to show that there's a lot of value in it. So that means the price has to go up. That means a lot of people are very interested in it. So the price is going to go up. Because I guess Myron sends his folks over here with that stuff. So that price is going to go up. So yeah, let me know what's up, man. I'm at 60K. That's where it is. So I'm here. Y'all let me know when y'all ready. All right. That's the minimum. All right. All right. 60K plus travel and hotel fees. All right. And no Super 8 hotels. No budget hotels, no Super 8s. 4-star and up. All right. Just to be clear. And then I bring my own security because I don't trust none of y'all tethers.
Right.
All right. Let me see. Let's see who we got. Because we do have a lot of people in here. We got a lot of folks in the building. A lot of people up in here. What's up, Sister Brooke? What's the lovely Sister Brooke down there? I see you. I ain't going to be on here too long. What time is it? All right, let me give one more good one. We get one more good one because we do have a lot of people in here, but, I don't want to be up here all day with y'all, which I love the family, but I don't want to keep y'all up because I know y'all got work and all that. So y'all raise your hand. Let me know if you're in here. Raise your hand. Let me get some new faces. I want to get some new people in here. All right. I'm trying to see some new faces in here. I don't want to get the same folks that we get regularly. Let's get Mr. A1. Let's get Mr. A1 in the building.
Hey, Flex, can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you, A1. How are you, sir?
Oh, brother, I have been barred from this from Twitter at least 3 times during the last 8 months.
Why?
Oh, because I'm going at it against white supremacists and everything else. They never get checked by X at all.
Yeah.
But black, whenever we stand up and everything else on truth and and fight back against them, they just immediately kick this up. They just suspend our accounts and everything else. We're permanently banned, and the only way we can just get back in is that we have to find another handle on everything else. So I'm back, after being barred for about a month and everything else. Yeah, but I want to talk about this situation with Smokey Robinson. I'm wondering if that white dude who's on Shannon Sharp, I forgot that attorney's name from Houston.
The one who's suing all the black entertainers?
Yes,
Tony Busby, I think, right? Tony
Busby. I wonder if he's doing that. I wonder if he's involved in this lawsuit.
Jewish.
Okay, I'm a little crazy. Let me deal with Donica. Donica, I get you in a second.
Donica, shut up.
I mean, listen, he said, let me deal with Donica. Do you want to stand in line or do you want to?
No, I'm.
Let Donna. Let
me finish. Okay. But I'm wondering if Tony Busby is behind all this.
I don't know. That I don't know.
Yeah, I think he is for some odd reason because he's been on every black entertainer's bumper and everything from P. Diddy to Shannon Sharp and possibly right now on our brother Smokey Robinson. He's 85 years old, and he's.
All right, thank you, brother, Mr. Okay, thank you, Mr. Shit. Okay, all right.
I need some more work, baby, tonight. I need some more work on me tonight.
All right. So we'll move to the next topic, and that is Rodney Hinton Jr., a case of temporary insanity. That's the father, the FBA father in Ohio that ran over a police officer, a race soldier. After a police officer killed his son. So Professor Black Truth's gonna give us an update on that.
Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. By now, I'm sure you've heard about it. The police's story is that at some point on the morning of May 1st, they became aware of a stolen vehicle at an apartment complex. The police say that there were 4 individuals in the car who all fled when police arrived. One of them was 18-year-old Ryan Hinton. The cop who shot Ryan Hinton dead claimed that Ryan was pointing a gun at him, but when you look at the video, that's not clear at all. The police, of course, have also tried to claim that they attempted to administer first aid to Mr. Hinton, but if you believe that, you gotta be some kind of stupid. As we've seen with plenty of cases of police victims, from Eric Garner to Botham Jean to you name it, they don't do anything to save the life of a black person once they've shot them or strangled them or beaten them or tased them to death. They just say that and the white media repeats it. The very next morning, around 9:30 a.m., Ryan Hinton's family, including his father, Rodney Hinton Jr., went to the police chief's office to view the body camera footage of the killing. An attorney representing the family described it as disturbing. Mr. Hinton Jr. was so distraught by what he'd seen that around 10:30 a.m. he walked out before the video had even finished. He briefly came back to the police station sometime later, but just after 1 p.m., reports came over police radio about an officer down. In this case, a Hamilton County Sheriff's deputy. Now, we don't know what exactly happened, but at some point, Mr. Rodney Hinton Jr. was arrested, and he's now being charged with aggravated murder in this incident. Of course, he's being held without bond. The judge in this case, a very light-skinned black man, wasn't trying to control the police either. He simply allowed them to stand around in the courtroom and turn what should have been a routine arraignment into chaos. He allowed the police to flood the courtroom to the point that nobody else could get in. Mr. Hinton Jr. had to be removed ostensibly for his own safety. They aren't acting like law enforcement professionals. They're acting like a taxpayer-funded street gang, and the judge allowed them to. The white media, of course, dismissed all of this, saying that, well, they were there to show their support. They could have done that by being out on duty. It's a courtroom, not a Fraternal Order of Police clubhouse. This is showing from the jump that the fix is in, and that these crooked authorities want to make it clear exactly whose side they're on. There will be no objectivity here, but then again, there never is. Mr. Hinton Jr.'s attorney said the obvious, that he is a devoted family man, a law-abiding citizen with no felony record, in fact, nothing to indicate hostility or antipathy towards the police or anyone else for that matter, and that even if he is found to have been the perpetrator of this incident, it's obvious that he was not in his right mind. This is a clear case of mental illness, if anything. It's certainly not murder. Even the prosecutors know this, which is why they didn't charge him with first-degree murder or first-degree anything, because there was clearly no premeditation, no forethought. This is a grieving and distraught father who only hours earlier had just learned that his son had been killed, and now he was invited to the police chief's office so he could watch what amounts to a snuff film. Any parent who had just watched video of their child being gunned down in a hail of bullets would have been in the same state of mental stress that Mr. Hinton Jr. was. Prosecutors, having suddenly discovered a willingness to charge people, said that they believe Mr. Hinton Jr., in a way that was calculated and premeditated, lined up his car, deliberately accelerated his vehicle, and purposely caused the death. Now, isn't that exactly what the person who killed Mr. Hinton Jr.'s son did? Ryan Hinton did nothing other than run. And the person who killed him, in a way that was calculated and premeditated, lined up his gun, deliberately fired his gun, and purposely caused Ryan Hinton's death. He certainly didn't think that shooting this guy multiple times was going to result in him living. The killer was not fired upon, by the way, and the police chief bragged that we don't require them to wait to be fired upon just to gun someone down. The video doesn't support the police's claim that Ryan Hinton was aiming a gun at anyone, and the person who took his life has still not even been identified. Now, I'm sure we'll have some unthinking numbskulls who will try to say, well, Ryan Hinton had stolen a car, if nothing else. First of all, that has yet to be established, but for the sake of argument, let's concede that assertion. Do the police routinely kill people suspected of stealing a car? And don't give me any crap about the police were scared because they saw a gun. The police themselves have already admitted that as far as pointing a weapon at anyone, they don't actually have any evidence of that. And merely seeing a gun never justifies opening fire. The police routinely encounter individuals with guns on a regular basis. I've detailed that for you on this channel with my crime reports. And they don't open fire unless that person actually points the gun at them. Well, depending on their skin color, that is. But with black citizens, they don't need to see a gun at all to shoot a black person dead. Since at least 2015, we've had an endless list of black citizens who didn't have a gun, but were gunned down by the police anyway with their hands up. If the person who killed Ryan Hinton was so scared, Why didn't he take cover? Police caught at least 2 of the other individuals alleged to have been in the car. They could have easily been able to get the identities of anyone who got away. If the cop who killed Ryan Hinton was so scared, shouldn't that have been his reaction? Take cover? Kyle Rittenhouse gunned down 2 people. Police watched him do it, and they just decided to drive by him and gave him a thumbs up. So apparently they're scared of guns when they choose to be. The white media endlessly lectures us that police do a dangerous job, but the Bureau of Labor Statistics tells a different story, that policing is one of the safest jobs in America compared to all the others, which is why the mayor and everyone else has time to show up whenever some cop is killed, because it happens so rarely. The primary cause of police deaths are suicide. None of the politicians ever show up for those funerals. But if we are to believe the talking point that policing is just so outrageously dangerous, and that cops have to make life and death decisions getting out of bed every morning, then why is it that we see such unique and irregular displays of emotion whenever police actually do get killed? The military doesn't have angry families storming the courtroom and angry veterans groups acting out when soldiers come back dead by the thousands. Only a handful of police die every year by comparison. So why do these politicians and the white media portray it as if it's by the boatload? Why do they exaggerate so much? I've detailed for you in my numerous crime reports how police are killed by white suspects, and that doesn't prompt the white media's typical narratives about police do a dangerous job. And what about Blue Lives Matter? And police want to quit because the public's turned against them. When was the last time you've seen a judge allow the police to pack the courtroom when a white suspect killed a cop? This is about justifying any and every use of force against Black people, because we never hear these talking points at any other time. So I give my sincerest condolences to the Hinton family. They've lost a son, and the father is now fighting for his freedom. We often hear apologists for police killings of Black citizens say that all lives matter, a phony talking point that we only hear when a Black citizen has been killed by the police, or on the rare occasion that a Black citizen's been accused of killing a cop, but only if it's a white one. Well, if we're going to be hearing the everyone needs to do thus and so talking point, then we should be hearing it now. What's happened here is a tragic confluence of events. The police didn't mean to kill Ryan Hinton, right? And Mr. Hinton Jr., a law-abiding family man with no felony record, didn't mean to harm anyone either. This is a sad case of diminished capacity, nothing more. And that being the case, it's a tragedy for all involved. In fact, even the prosecutors and the authorities have said that this is an all-around tragedy for everyone. And that being the case, since the killer of Ryan Hinton hasn't been charged or arrested and hasn't even been named, why is it that Mr. Hinton Jr. is not receiving the same treatment? The death of Ryan Hinton is the same as the death of that sheriff's deputy. A tragedy, but not a crime. The family of Ryan Hinton is expected to understand that these things happen, and that no matter how they feel, nothing will be done because, as white prosecutors are so fond of saying to Black victims, well, sending so-and-so to prison, that's not going to bring the victim back. How many times have we heard that one whenever prosecutors have made some sweetheart plea deal to allow some race killer to walk, or just to make sure that they get the minimum sentence? Talking point that we hear from the usual suspects is that Ryan Hinton's killer didn't get up that morning intending to kill him, and Rodney Hinton Jr. didn't get up that morning intending to kill that sheriff's deputy either. It happened spontaneously after he was traumatized watching his son being killed. And if the killer of Ryan Hinton shouldn't be prosecuted, even though he committed his killing with no mental impairment or defect, then how much more deserving of consideration is Mr. Hinton Jr., who was clearly, if he did this at all, acting under extraordinary mental duress? I'm sure those same prosecutors and police and white media pundits will agree that everyone needs to simply accept what's happened here and just move on with their lives. Good day and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors: Ginger Vine, Ching Tayari, Paula Williams, Sa, and Cheryl Tate. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.
All right, thank you, Professor. Yeah, we had covered this on Black Power Radio, Black OP Online Radio, shout out, or TV. Shout out to Black Dynamite, Black Lightning for that. So I got another update from SETI, General Sarah Sutton SETI. He's also going to give us an update on this case.
All right, family. Black Power is the true power with General Sarah Soon said he kick back, get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. I'm excited and delighted to be accepting members to not only the Sarah Soon Seti YouTube page, but the General Seti YouTube page, two dynamic powerhouse institutions on YouTube, giving you nothing but black power, black divinity. I want you to subscribe immediately. I want you to become a member. That's right. The link right down in the chat video description. Click it, you get a video introduction, rundown on the memberships, what they entail. You see one you like, you should most definitely join, even if you don't. I appreciate your presence here at the Sarah Soon Seti General Seti YouTube page. Continue to engage, continue to advance. That's right, family. The General got a new website on Teachable, uploading a lot of dynamic curriculums, powerhouse programs, certificate courses. I want you to get over there. We're going to get to upload some powerful, like I said, curriculums up there that you cannot get anywhere else on the planet. First one up, we talking about 25 steps to the redemption of definitive black manhood. For the black men out there, need that structure, that guidance, need that brotherhood is there for you. Get over there, check out the curriculum. Even comes with the Brotherhood of Heru Roundtable live stream once a week. We meet, discussing very important, powerful information pertinent to our growth and development. Nothing like it, designed by the General. Get over there and become a brother today. That's right. Ring the alarm, KingSeti.com online marketplace, official General Sarah Soon Seti DVD lectures, t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry, holistic tonics and remedies, home decor, accessories for every room in the house. Got something for your family I know you're going to like and love. Check out that catalog. Get you something nice. Shop and save and shop. Pull the fire alarm, GeneralSeti.com, Seti University. Over 2,500 videos, 40 different subjects. All the subjects that you know and love from the General. Old Mecca, ancient Egypt, ancient Nubia. The black woman is God, making of the white man, too raw for you too, Black Illuminati, hip hop, Holocaust, and so many, many more. Nothing like it on the planet. Nothing can compare, compete. Become a member today. And everybody know General Seti popping on Patreon. The popping page on Patreon by far. Got the link right up there. In the chat is pinned up there. We got some fire jumping off today. Got some previews, but we also got the fire. And so you can come on over here and get the smoke right here on YouTube. But if you want the fire, you got to go to Patreon, and it's there for your family. Most definitely get over there. To those that donate to the General, thank you. Those would like to donate, link right there in the chat. I most definitely appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe immediately. Do not hesitate. Subscribe immediately. Get a video a thumbs up. Like it because you love it. Share with your family and friends and comment. Just don't say nothing stupid because I will ban your ass. Now, we can see that this situation that's going on with the Hinton family, Ryan, Ronald down there in Cincinnati is heating up.
Yeah.
Emotions is starting to boil, because the reality is, and we cannot hesitate to say this, that them Cro-Magnon Neanderthals down there in Cincinnati, in that area, in Ohio, all over the United States, but we talking particularly in that area, it's been a damn war going on for a very long time. Okay, the racial tensions have been boiling in that area for a very long time. And, and I can see something in the family down there. And I've been to Cincinnati many times. We did very powerful lectures down there in Cincinnati, and they just ain't buying it. They just ain't going. Some communities, they'll buy that shit. They'll take it and they'll put a sign up, and march down the street and shit. But they ain't buying it down there like that. You feel me, motherfucker? Just like when they came down there, little Neanderthals came down there with their flags and shit. People pulled up. You know, they was, pulled up. They was about that business. You feel me? And so, knowing that the police down there is nothing but, the SS, they ain't nothing but the Nazis and shit.
Wow.
And, they executing family down there and all over the United States. This is not just in, but, some areas are more escalated than others. There's no area where it ain't going down, but some areas are more escalated than others. You got hot spots, all of them hot, but you got some extremely hot, and so looking at this video is clear to see. And I don't have to look at this shit over and over and over. Cause you can, when motherfuckers in a predicament like that, their mind is gonna be to get free. They're gonna take off running, whatever, it take a real psychotic person to shoot at the police. Now, I'm not saying in self-defense. I'm just talking about you trying to get home. You trying to get away. You ain't about all that bullshit. You just trying to get to you trying to get to point B, to safety. And that's what the young man was trying to do. He was trying to get away. Clearly. I don't have it. I mean, because if he was going straight up, he could have started busting long before he took off. You see what I'm saying? He could have started busting. So he didn't do that. He didn't do that. And so and from my understanding, that the young man dropped the gun. Okay? He dropped the gun. And when he came through those dumpsters, he was literally fleeing for his life. I watched the video. And he didn't even turn around to look at the goddamn police. You see what I'm saying? When somebody, that young man ain't trying to throw his motherfucking life away.
Right.
Now, if you trying to survive, that's one thing. He trying to get free. And a man that gonna take the time to, and you think he gonna turn around and shoot this police. You got some crazy people out there now. And so, but this is not, you supposed to be trained to, you got the gun square dab, you got him in the sight. It really, once you got him in the sight, you know what I'm saying? If you got any type of training, he's you got him in the sight. Ain't nothing else to be said. All you had to do is squeeze. And so if you tell him, I got you, drop it or whatever, it take a real dumb motherfucker to be at a disadvantage like that. And then turn around, you got to turn, he already got you in the sight. And so you be a dumb motherfucker to try to, turn around to get in position. This man already in position. You looking to die. You looking to die. So I doubt very seriously. God damn it. But like we said, we already seen that the young brother had dropped the gun. And clearly when he came through the dumpsters, he didn't even turn back. Motherfucker trying to flee, motherfucker gone. You know what I'm saying? Only thing they see is that goddamn light that's ahead of them that say freedom. You see? And so he was doing his best, even in this picture right here. He's gone. You feel me? He's out of there. And they killed that boy. They executed that boy. That's just all it is to it. And we always look for a way to pin the shit on us, because that's what niggas do. These goddamn crackers, for every incident that happened out here, and it's us, it's damn near 5-6 damn incidents that nobody even, our shit trend. Okay? Our shit trend. When the crazy cracker went to the goddamn governor's mansion in Pennsylvania and set the motherfucker on fire with him in his family, that shit only stayed on the goddamn news like a day and a half. And he had a hammer in his goddamn hand. And he said if he would have got to him, he would have cracked his goddamn skull open. You see, trended it didn't even a day and a half. They say he crazy. You see, everybody crazy. You know, these motherfuckers on there only stay up there a day and a half. The other boy, Allison, Case and Allison, stabbed the boy 4 times. Motherfucker got off on a lesser charge. You understand what I'm saying? Got off on a lesser charge. He's 17, liable to do probation. You understand? 2-3 years probation. You act right for a year and a half, he be off that shit. You see, he'll get a homicide. He'll do 3-4 years. Or, you know, two, you know, they might put him in there for a couple months. He'll be back out on the street before a year is out. He can finish the rest of his shit on probation. And if he do, you know, 6-7 months without no problem, they'll release him. He done stabbed somebody. You don't even hear about the shit. It ain't even been, you know, it ain't even been in the news. It ain't even been in the news. They hid that shit for 3 years, and motherfucker just started talking about it when he went to court. He went to court 3 years after the fact. Motherfucker was sentenced. You ain't even heard shit on the news. When we do some shit, it trends. It stays, and then you take one and stretch it so fucking long that it be 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 other incidents that happening where they done did some crazy shit, but you gonna stretch Carmelo shit out, Carmelo Anthony out so goddamn long. Oh, look what he did and shit and all this other shit that didn't happen since his time, and motherfuckers don't even bring it up. You see, and so now they mad about the white boy. And so, like I say, when this shit go down, people got to know retaliation don't mean that they got to strike, particularly the Carmelo Anthony family or any other family. These racist motherfuckers will find anybody black in any state, in any city, and that's a retaliation for what happened there. And they'll strike 5 and 6 and 7 different people. You understand? Should have never make it to the news. Okay, that white boy ran that young boy over, and I forget what was that in Mississippi. Ran him over. God damn it, in a truck. Ain't nobody shit ain't even hit the damn news. They ain't even talking about it. Ran him over. Come back get his damn mirror. Didn't even check on the baby. He was 10 years old, wasn't he? 10 years old. Ran him over. Come back, get his goddamn mirror. Somebody should have, you know what I'm saying, took his fucking head off. Period. You know, we keep making excuses for this shit. And see, the thing is, this is why we deteriorate. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to release the steam. You know what I'm saying? You keep bottling this shit up every time something happened to us. You understand? We bottle the shit up. No justice. No, every fucking situation is us. Do you notice there ain't no time where it's clean cut? They did something. The police or nobody. It's never clean cut. It's always an excuse. Even with this damn what's his name? Tyre Nichols. Here it is. Even though they black, you understand? They police and shit. But they connected, and they not gonna start charging they soldiers for killing, and because the goddamn command come from the top down. You see, so they didn't been told to do the shit that they do. They wouldn't go out there and pillage the goddamn community if they didn't think they had the okay from the higher ups. And because they have the okay from the higher ups, they not gonna be charging these police for doing what the fuck they done been told to do. Okay, they need them some Tom niggas that's gonna go out there and do that work, kill their own brother, pillage niggas. You know what I'm saying? Throw chunked up charges on the nigga. They been doing this shit. This shit ain't old. New, they go and get some shit out their goddamn car, throw it in your car, sprinkle the shit in your trunk, sprinkle the shit in your backseat, or while you out there, say, come on out of here. And then while you out there and the other police talking to you, they'll come, oh, look what I found. You know, and you got dope in your car and shit, and put a throwaway gun in your car. You see what I'm saying? And all kind of shit, you know? And so this is old shit. This is old shit what they doing. And so, and another thing, you know, you think that, you know, these motherfuckers, and you train. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be a trained officer. You know, you can't be shaking in your goddamn, but it ain't about that. It ain't about that. You don't see them every other week where a white boy gets shot or some white woman gets shot to death by some police. Now, it do happen, but usually when that shit happen, that's a wild motherfucker. Just ain't gonna do, just ready to, you know what I'm saying, drunk and shit and just wild the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? And so in that, but they don't just up and goddamn be shooting goddamn white people every other day and shit, and as if they don't do shit. You see, it's a way that they deal with their own versus the way they deal with black people. You see, they'll chase that white boy down. If he get away, he get away. But a nigga, they gonna swear to God he got something. I'm not about to be fucking. You know, they mad anyway. You know, because they hate you off top. And so they ain't trying to let you like a goddamn deer. You like and people don't understand. They hunted black people just like they hunt a goddamn raccoon. And see, we keep thinking, and so that's why I say whether the police, whether motherfucking militia type of motherfuckers, and they own their team. You see, people don't understand. They own their team. All the militia motherfuckers, they own their team. I was just looking at the news today where they was talking about the United States military and shit, how many people's in the military, and they broke down all the levels of like reserves and shit, and they also included, listen to me, militias that were not technically under their control, but they expect if some shit go down, that militias would join in with the reserve to help protect the United States. So while you see why they don't fucking get out there and do the shit they do, you understand, to them motherfucking white right-wing Nazi motherfuckers, because they own their damn team. And a lot of them, they put on the camouflage and tags and all that. Some just become police. And a lot of them damn police, when they get off of work, they go to the meetings with the militias. You see, they share intel. You know, they share intel. So this is just another racist motherfucker, a white boy that then shot this boy for no goddamn reason other than he black. You know, he want to hunt. They come down here with the adrenaline. You know, they want to hunt niggas like they hunt coons and deers and goddamn any other kind of animal and shit. So that brain need adrenaline out in them. You know, and so they don't see no human being. They see a goddamn hunt. And they hunted that boy and they killed him for no other reason other than he was black. And his daddy, just like they do. You understand what I'm saying? He very well could have been insane. Who would not believe a man who loved his son and this cracker done just did what he did would not retaliate, go insane. You done lost your son because some racist ass cracker done shot him down and he ain't even got a pistol and shit. So, you know, I don't blame that man at all. He's justified. When he can't get no goddamn justice in the damn so-called justice system, then you got to get your own goddamn justice. Or you ain't gonna get none. You ain't gonna get, just bury the boy, say your goddamn prayer, take your bitch ass home, eat dinner, and take your ass to sleep, get up, nigga, and hope you ain't the next nigga the next day to get shot down in the street. You know, that's what we do. And that's what some niggas do. You see? And so, this shit is heating up. I could tell you that. And if it ain't no justice, you know, and more than likely it may not be unless they see this shit heating up. And if they see this shit heating up, and it might get out of their, and it might turn into some shit. And in a time like this, with Donald Trump in office, man, listen here, yeah, with this shit could be a motherfucking straight up civil war in this motherfucker. People think that civil war is just some shit that you read about in the goddamn book, and that after that, once it ain't no more civil wars. It's all this shit been going on since the beginning of time. And certain shit can bring emotions and you know, bring groups head to head in such a way. It's time to get down, straight the fuck up. It's time to get down. And so they are emboldened. Yeah, they are emboldened. Yeah, they are emboldened. They are emboldened because they got Donald Trump in there. You know, they quick to look at you crazy and shit. You just have to show a motherfucker, man, or be a punk. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, you've been doing this shit for 300 some motherfucking years. And then when you the thing is about a lion, when a motherfucker get ready to get in their ass and shit, they always, what do you say you won't change? You keep doing the same shit, punking. Every fucking time a motherfucking 2 Cro-Magnon Neanderthal got 2 38s on them, 38 special, and nigga got all type of AK-47s and all type of goddamn what they call them, stocks and shit with it, all type of automatic goddamn 7,500 round drums on the motherfucking 2 little scraggly ass Neanderthals can walk down the street, and then all these hard rock gangsters run up in the goddamn house, jump behind the couch, peeking out the side of the goddamn curtains, hiding and shit. But then when it's time to pull that shit out on their brothers and their sister in their own community, you can hear the shit busting all night. Ba 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 ba. Then when it come down, to the Cro-Magnon, and then everybody want to be looking stupid like, oh well, he did something, and yeah, but when it come time to your own, you will sit your bitch ass up in the chair and watch the news and listen about how many black people died all day. One goddamn Neanderthal sent on his way to hell, and y'all motherfuckers out here shaking and coming up with excuse. I ain't got no excuse. You got what you can't get one, just like you executed that boy, then goddamn it, that which you do unto others shall be done unto you. And you got exactly what the fuck you deserve. And it ain't gonna stop. And y'all keep playing games like somehow we the other group, that y'all get to deport and shit and this, that, and the third. We not them, okay? People say they not us. No, we not them. That's my phrase. They not like us. No, we not like them. Okay, so yeah, let's flip this shit. And as I saw the video, they killed that boy absolutely for nothing. It's gonna get ugly. I could see the family down there standing 10 toes down, and I don't expect it to change. And so if justice will not be served, then people gonna take to the streets and get their own justice. I want to thank you for we just getting started today. I want you to click a couple of them links, support the general as we continue to put the strong voice down for the family out there, to all the family in Cincinnati. Stay strong, stay united, stay united, resolve, you understand, have resolve, stay focused. You see, I know him, let emotion drive you, but let logic guide you. You see, let emotion drive you, but let logic guide you. And goddamn it, the ancestors is gonna see us to the finish line. This is General Cyrus Susan said. He said, hey, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share it with family and friend. I'll be right black. Arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast. Daily liberation through African education and confrontation. Black Power.
Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth. It feels like the subject of black children being targeted by these anti-black racists is emerging as something of the theme for this week. By now, everyone's seen the video. 5 years after the murder of George Floyd, the white supremacists out in Minnesota are showing that race relations in America haven't gone anywhere for a reason. Shiloh Hendrix, a white woman in Rochester, Minnesota, was caught on video hurling racial slurs at a black child, barely more than an infant. And the video's gone viral. And this Hendrix character became famous overnight, though not the way she would have liked. But of course, we live in the post-racial America, as Henry Skip the Truth Gate said, so naturally this blonde bigot immediately realized that she could appeal to the white belligerence that's been resurgent in American society. So she did what so many of these other hate criminals in recent years have done. She set up a crowdfunding for herself, for the alleged purpose of protecting her family and potentially helping them to relocate. Never mind the fact that she's not under any sort of real threat, and never mind the fact that this woman really doesn't have much of a family to speak of, but since when do white supremacists care about facts or truth? But this racist pustule knew exactly what she was doing. She was appealing to all of these white supremacists out there. Hey, look at me, look at the stunt that I pulled. Why don't you go ahead and give me a pat on the back? When the video went viral, the online white supremacist mouthpieces like Tim Pool and others realized that they could also get in on the action. So far, this Shiloh woman's received over $600,000 in donations, with all of the attention she's been given by the online white supremacist sphere. She originally had a goal of only $50,000, but since then she says that her new goal is $1 million. So this goes to show that these racists understand full well what they're doing is openly monetizing their hate crimes. Now, what I want to know is, what is this white racist woman going to do with that money? Donations can often be tax exempt, but that's only under specific circumstances, like for medical emergencies or some sort of extreme situation like that. This vile creature is not trying to get any sort of medical care, and she's not even in any personal danger, obviously. She's just hanging out her tin can and asking the other racists to give her some money for having racially assailed a child. If she decides to move, it'll be her own choice, but not out of necessity. That's not someone in need. That's just a garden variety bigot taking advantage of white privilege. And the fact that she's raised so much money tells me that there's plenty of bigots who are still getting their state mental health disability checks, and this is how they've been spending the money. You know, if Elon Musk and the rest of those creeps at Doge want to actually cut down on waste, this would be a good place to start. Not only should this heifer be made to pay taxes on whatever money she's getting, but she should also be made to give an accounting of every penny of it. We should see what kind of car she winds up driving, what kind of house she moves into, and what kind of designer bags that she winds up carrying. A number of people have been comparing this woman to Kyle Rittenhouse, who also was making money off of crowdfunding after he committed his heinous crime. But if this woman thinks to herself that she's going to be some sort of Kyle Rittenhouse part 2, she might want to think twice. After all, it wasn't long before Rittenhouse found himself in dire financial straits. All of that quickie cash that he got when he was a little hero to the white right, that stuff evaporated soon enough. And as we all saw, he and his lawyers were having double knockouts fighting over the loot. This racist Hendrix woman claims to be so scared for herself and her so-called family. She's so terrified they may have to move, no doubt, to a bigger place. But don't be surprised when she decides to rear her ugly head on some right-wing nuts podcast regardless, just like Rittenhouse was doing interviews, all the while claiming that he was afraid for his safety. Yeah, he was so afraid he couldn't go anywhere at all except for all the interviews he was doing. And just like with Rittenhouse, don't be surprised when this little old money that she's getting right now all disappears. And the next video of her that we see on the internet will be her OnlyFans. And I'm sure that it hasn't skipped your notice that it's mostly these white supremacist females who are by and large the ones threatening and attacking these black children. From these racist school teachers to these racist nurses in these hospitals, you see who's leading the charge on this stuff. Now, this reprobate should have already been arrested for menacing a child and a half dozen other offenses, but so far the authorities out there are making it clear whose side they're on. Protesters have been demanding that this creep be charged, and were she a black woman hurling racial slurs at a white child, she would be. For over a year and a half now, we've had the nonstop narrative crammed down our throats that anti-Semitism is apparently completely and thoroughly out of control in America. Why, if somebody criticizes the state of Israel or shows anything other than contempt for the Palestinians, why, that is a life-threatening situation for every Jewish student on every campus around America. And that being the case, criticizing Israel is a threat requiring the country to suspend the Constitution. Meanwhile, as I've detailed for you all this week, you have black children being racially harassed, bullied, and even killed. And that's not seen as an emergency at all. Can you imagine what the white media and political response would be if this white woman was on video doing this to a child who is Jewish? Jonathan Greenblatt would be sending out press releases like so much candy. We would have every white cable news organization talking about this wall to wall. And of course, the feds would be all over it. And legislators would already be saying that there needs to be a criminal statute specifically to punish people who hurl anti-Semitic slurs at Jewish toddlers on playgrounds. That's what we would have. We would have a Playground Protection Act. The current mayor of Rochester, Minnesota is also a white blonde woman named Kim Norton, who, not surprisingly, looks like an older version of this Hendrix woman. She's a Democrat, of course, same as that Jacob Fry character in Minneapolis, who is still the mayor of that city today, and who went out of his way to show solidarity with the thugs in blue from day one. And what has Kim Norton, the mayor of Rochester, Minnesota, done about this reprehensible incident? Nothing I can find so far. In fact, she hasn't even said anything. Now, had this been an anti-Semitic incident, she would already be racing to get in front of the cameras to denounce this as a hate crime, declare that Jewish children must be protected, and conclude by pledging her eternal loyalty to Benjamin Netanyahu. We'll continue with the moment of truth in just a moment, but first, a word from the official sponsor of Black Empowerment, Power Tools. There's no telling when something's going to come up, so make sure you carry your power tools at all times. You never know when you're going to need to bring the hammer down, or when you'll have some trash that needs to be blown away, or some obstacle that requires cutting down. Don't get caught empty-handed. Keep your hammer close by. Keep that leaf blower at the ready, and always carry your steel. Power tools, because no matter what your day job or side hustle may be, there's no excuse for not being ready to put in some work. It's crucial to establish red lines, to make sure that those lines are clear to everybody, along with what the effects are if those lines are crossed. Speaking of people who have crossed the line, the Rochester branch of the NAACP held a so-called crowdfunder, allegedly to benefit the family of the child in this incident. They claimed that the proceeds they were collecting in this child's name were going to go toward legal support and advocacy efforts on behalf of the boy's family. Legal support? Is the kid going to court or something? And the NAACP is talking about advocacy? That's a joke, isn't it? Because the NAACP hasn't advocated for Black people since forever. They've been spending all of their time being far more concerned about abortion and immigration than they have with Black people. But then again, they never said they were advocating for the child because he's Black, did they? When you look at the NAACP's statement, it said, quote, "Together we raised $341,484. Love wins." Well, apparently the family of the child found out that the NAACP was using this incident to do their own fundraising, in the child's name, of course. And I guess they must have told them to stop, because the NAACP put out a follow-up statement saying, in response to the family's wishes, we have now closed the GoFundMe page. We stand in full solidarity with the child and his family, and with all those who believe in building a community where dignity, justice, and love prevail. Notice that nowhere does the NAACP use the word Black. If they were talking about any other demographic, any other group, they would be specific about it. But when it comes to Black people, well, we got to go ahead and use some deracinated language. We don't want anyone thinking that we're sticking up for Black people or anything. Now, of course, the most salient part of the NAACP fiasco here is that it was the family of that child who told the NAACP to butt out. That's what happened here. The family told these guys, we don't need you, we weren't asking for your support, and you can knock off your so-called crowdfunding. If the NAACP wants to advocate for something, they can advocate for reparations. Or in this case, they can advocate for an anti-Black hate crime law. That's what they can advocate for. But they weren't talking about that at all. And yet they were trying to fundraise off of this. That's what this was. And it says a lot that this younger generation is rejecting these civil rights retreads, these fossils from a bygone era. The NAACP's credibility, such as it was, lies completely and thoroughly in ruins. And they're not going to be able to hide behind black children as a way to launder their image. And I'm sure that it's not lost on anyone that the main driver that the Tim Pools and others were talking about as far as why they need to give money to this white woman is the recent incident involving this young man, Carmelo Anthony, who killed someone in self-defense. That clearly looms over this. Everyone's heard about that case. He's been released on bail pending trial, and you got certain people who are mad about that. They're saying that the judge is wrong for that. What the judge is doing is treating this young man the same way that every white person accused of harming a black person gets treated. You call that equal justice under the law. But those are three concepts that white supremacy has been at war with for 500 years. Equality, the law, and justice. But of course, the dominant society doesn't want justice at all. It wants a racial Ponzi scheme where the rules never apply to them. What we're seeing is a continuing series of racial proxy wars and proxy skirmishes that are taking place. It's important to take note of that, but understand this racist pussbag in Rochester, she knew that attacking a black child would delight racists across the spectrum and would be the perfect way to solicit money from them. It was completely understood that it was specifically her hurling racist slurs at a black child that prompted them to give her all that money, because that's the exact kind of over-the-top, outrageous anti-black racism that these white supremacists just love. That's the kind of thing they look at and go, ooh, you just went completely and thoroughly out of your way to do that mess. Oh, we got to do something to give you a pat on the back. Incidents like this are yet another reminder of why we as black people in this country need a hate crime law specifically to protect us. And it also exposes that all of these so-called white liberal politicians and their black bootlicks like the NAACP, who claim to be so concerned about equality and color blindness and equal justice under the law, whenever they see black children being attacked, not one of them says we got to go on a war footing, we got to go on full alert. And yet these are the exact same people who will try to tell you and me that we need to vote for them, because if we don't, well, who's going to stop all of these racists from attacking black people? You got a Democrat mayor in a Democrat city, and she ain't doing a doggone thing about this, just like Jacob Fry didn't do anything about it in Minneapolis. These people are already in charge now. They're already in authority now. And what are they doing with the authority that black voters gave to them? What they're doing is they're looking for campaign donations for themselves, and they're ignoring black people's interests, and they're staying mum whenever black people are targeted, especially black children. Now, what should the response be from an intelligent group of people when they see this kind of contempt shown to them time and time and time again? When black children are targeted, the response cannot be tepid and it cannot be moderate. Attacking children is an extreme act, and the response to these attacks on black children has to be sufficient to make sure that these threats no longer persist. We not only must stick up for black children, but we also have to stick up for their parents and those conscientious citizens who protect black children. And also to make sure that the next time some piece of trash like this Shiloh woman calls herself attacking a black child, well, somebody might make sure that her next so-called crowdfunding actually is tax deductible. Mm-hmm. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors: Gwendolyn Langston, Kareem Lawless, Tyrone Leak, Sakina Collins, and Jesse Gibson. Salute to them, and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.
We want to get to breaking news now out of Memphis. A jury has found 3 former police officers charged in the deadly beating of Tyre Nichols.
So that was a Shiloh chick. Let me see. I had another video on that. Let me see. I'm sorry. That was Vicky Dillard.
Peace, family. My name is Vicky Dillard. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel here at VickyDillard.tv, beloved. As you come in, be sure to come in giving us a big thumbs up, and like and share. Yes, thank you for tuning in today.
It shouldn't have never happened. I want to find out exactly what steps was taken in the
defendant drove across oncoming lanes of traffic through the intersection and directly at the deputy, who is wearing a fluorescent vest.
There are no evidence of skid marks. There are no evidence in trying to avoid him
In court, Hinton's public defender calling this an emotionally charged situation. The crash happening less than 3 hours after his family says Hinton met with Cincinnati police to review body camera videos showing the shooting of his 18-year-old son, Ryan Hinton. The videos, now publicly released, show Hinton running and being shot by city police. Cincinnati police say the team was armed and pointed a gun toward an officer who was responding to a call of a stolen vehicle.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun! On your right! On your right!
Hinton was shot about 6 seconds after officers got out of their vehicles.
He wasn't supposed to be there. He wasn't. He was scared. He tripped and fell. He must have been so scared. I'm so sorry, Ryan.
We are very close. Very close to him. This is killing us.
Tonight, the teen's family speaking out with their family attorneys who say they're investigating the shooting.
I'm angry because it shouldn't have never happened. I want to find out exactly what steps was taken in the protocol.
While also offering their condolences to the deputy they say was tragically killed.
In that statement, you made a point to notice and acknowledge the pain that the family of the fallen deputy is feeling as well. What was in your heart when you did that? Why did you find the need?
I was crying about what happened to the innocent officer. You know, so that's all it was all about. It's all about healing each other.
Shaquille Brister joins us now from Cincinnati, Ohio. Shaq, the father in this case, Rodney Hinton Jr., is expected back in court tomorrow.
That's right, Allison. We expect to see that suspect back in court tomorrow morning for a bond hearing. The state is essentially asking that he be held behind bars until his trial. We should note he has not entered into any plea just yet, and we're not expecting that to take place tomorrow. By the way, the funeral arrangements for neither his son nor the deputy that he's accused of killing have been set yet, though we're expecting that deputy's funeral to take place later this week, Allison.
Shaq Brewster, thank you.
Okay, family. Okay. Let me give y'all a little more detail before I go to screaming and hollering. Today's broadcast is very serious. Are y'all listening to me today? As you just heard, you all saw the main parts, yes? Just so you get the latest updated information as of today, the news is reporting that this Ohio father who fatally struck a deputy with his car after his son was shot and killed by police was denied bond during a chaotic hearing on Tuesday. A judge ordered Rodney L. Hinton to be remanded with no bond in connection with the death of Hamilton County Special Deputy Larry Henderson. Hinton, who is charged with aggravated murder, pleaded not guilty. Before entering a plea, a commotion erupted in the courtroom's gallery when Hinton's brother started yelling, "That's my brother, that's my brother." More than 50 police officers Somebody put 50 in the chat. Somebody put 50 in the chat. I've been seeing posts go around saying 30, but I'm playing y'all the video footage, and I'm also giving you the latest updated information as of today. Do you understand? What did I say? I said before entering a plea, a commotion erupted in the courtroom's gallery when Hinton's brother started yelling, "That's my brother, that's my brother." More than 50 police officers and at least 36 family members and protesters were seated in the gallery. Are y'all listening? Deputies immediately escorted Hinton out of the courtroom. Here's another image of him in the courtroom. Keep listening. Everybody be, quote, y'all listen, okay? I'm giving y'all the details first. Yes, thank you for your patience. Quote, "Everybody be calm. We're going to get through this," Judge Tyrone Yates said as Hinton was led back inside the room. Authorities accused Hinton of intentionally hitting Henderson on Friday afternoon as he was directing traffic near the University of Cincinnati during graduation. The deputy was taken to the hospital where he died from his injuries. Officials said Henderson retired about 5 months ago and worked as a special deputy that day. Hamilton County Sheriff Charmaine McGuffey said Henderson was, quote, "so well liked and so well known." "We're deeply saddened," McGuffey said at a Friday news conference. Cincinnati Police Chief Teresa Tedgy, whatever her name, Theetge, told reporters on Friday that there was a definite connection, y'all heard that, between the collision and Thursday's fatal police shooting of Hinton's 18-year-old son, Ryan Hinton. That's the name we need to be remembering, is Ryan Hinton, the deceased son, the fallen martyr. Ryan Hinton was killed by a Cincinnati police officer who responded to a report of a stolen vehicle at an apartment complex, authorities said. Tetji, however you pronounce her name, said that 4 people in the alleged stolen car ran, some in different directions, after police approached them. 2 officers pursued the team. Somebody say pursued the team. Somebody say pursued the team. Pursued the team. Pursued the team. Why am I emphasizing that? That means he was no threat to you. You understand? And another person, authorities said. It says the team was armed. Everybody say so. Everybody say so. Everybody say so.
So.
Carr Beebe, a Cincinnati police officer, said at the Tuesday bond hearing that Rodney Hinton had viewed body camera footage. Somebody say that grieving father. Somebody say that grieving father. The ones that y'all say don't take care of their kids. This grieving father don't play about his baby. This caring, loving, grieving, distressed father. What did he do? Said at the bond hearing that Rodney Hinton had viewed body camera footage of the shooting shortly before the collision. Video released by police showed an officer exit his vehicle and point his gun at the teen who appeared to be running away. I'm going to say that again because y'all be getting stuff confused. And y'all know how the media likes to lie. And how many of y'all know that as soon as information come out in the beginning, information can change later, but sometimes they intentionally change the information in the beginning. So you got to keep track of it so that you can catch them in their lies. You understand? So what are we learning early on? We're learning early on that their footage shows, the ones that did have the camera on, because I think some of them didn't, that he appeared to be running away. Somebody say no threat. Somebody say no threat. Somebody say no threat. Life wasn't in danger. Life wasn't in danger. You was all right. The officer fired at least 4 times. She said she believes the 18-year-old was hit by 2 bullets. One in the chest and one in the arm. You better not be no biscuits over here because you might get cussed out by me and stuff. You might get cussed out. In another video, an officer could be heard yelling, "He's got a gun." Well, we know that's what white folks do, weirdos. You got a gun too. The entire incident lasted. Guess how long the incident lasted, family? How long did the incident last? Did y'all remember what you heard on the video footage? 6 seconds. 6. Vicky, calm down, please. 6 seconds. This white boy was itching to kill our babies. So not only did he appear to be running away, which means he was no threat to you. This Anglo-Saxon, this blanking Yankee, the entire incident, y'all, lasted 6 seconds. I said the incident, the murder, lasted 6 seconds. Somebody say American genocide. Don't type that word in the chat because I don't want the algorithms. I said American genocide. I said American genocide. Authorities said the gun was recovered at the scene. Tediage on Friday defended the officer's action, saying that they had, y'all listen to what this, let me calm down, this trick said. What this trick say? What this trick say? What this Kibbles and Bits say? What this Kibbles and Bits say? The Kibbles and Bits said, after defending the officer, she said, they often have to make split-second decisions to protect others and themselves when faced with immediate threats. Y'all see how white people just lie? You see how they just lie? Tediage said that the officer was shot. Tediage said that the officer who shot the teen had said Ryan Hinton pointed the gun at him. Because we know white folks lie. We know y'all lie. We know y'all lie. We don't believe that. And even if he did, what we know from the little bit of footage that we have and from the testimony so far is he was running away. So we can't believe that lie. Liar. We can't believe you lying Yankees. You lying Anglo-Saxons. You lying devils. We can't believe that. Quote, let me be very direct. We cannot allow individuals to flee from officers with a loaded firearm aimed at them. The hell? How many of y'all know that sentence don't make no sense? How many of y'all know this sentence? I'm reading you a quote. Are y'all listening? Listen to the sentence, family. Quote, let me be very direct. We cannot allow individuals to flee from officers with a loaded firearm aimed at them. Family, the brother was fleeing. He wasn't like this. And shooting. He was fleeing. Y'all see how that sentence don't go together? Y'all see how these white supremacist terrorists that have on uniforms? Goes on and say, when this happens, the outcome is always tragic, almost always tragic. No one wins and everyone involved is affected. The officer who shot Ryan Hinton has not been named. Are y'all listening? Family member said the older Hinton was, quote, upset and agitated after viewing the video, and they had concerns about him driving, Officer BB said during the Tuesday bond hearing. Because of their concerns, relatives drove Hinton from the station, but he later returned to pick up his vehicle from the parking lot. He actually left the parking lot, followed by some family members and another car, and then a few minutes later returned to the parking lot, drove through the parking lot, and left the parking lot again, he said. From there, Hinton drove toward the university and appeared to stop before he allegedly accelerated quickly through the intersection where Deputy Henderson was standing. BB said the vehicle struck the deputy and utility pole, according to BB, who said there was no indication that Hinton tried to stop. Henderson was quote, launched several feet through the air. Okay. He came to rest in a turn lane, several feet from where the collision occurred. The older Hinton appeared to fidget during the bond hearing. His attorney, Clyde Bennett, rubbed Hinton's shoulders and whispered to him, calm down. In his argument for no bond, the state said Hinton was a, quote, giant mental health question mark and a danger to law enforcement and the public, and cited past run-ins with the law, including a domestic violence incident and assault convictions. Y'all see where that's going, don't you? Y'all see where that's going, right? I just saw what somebody said, how come you didn't use your taser? I don't even want us to even talk on that level, family. I'm really trying not to be triggered today. I don't want us giving no kind of scenarios about nothing. We're not giving white folks no kind of benefit of the doubts that are murderers and terrorists on police forces in this American genocide. We're not going to sit here and say, why couldn't they use the taser? He shouldn't even use the taser either because he wasn't no threat. We don't know all the facts, family, so we shouldn't even be sitting up here even speculating about. We don't know if the man tried to kill the young man. We don't know what was said prior to. We don't know none of that. What we do know clearly, ostensibly, I'm going to say, apparently, is that he was no threat to this man. He wasn't shooting this man. He was fleeing. So we're not going to get into no kind of other scenarios. We're going to keep all this on white people till the other facts come out. Bigot said at the hearing he wanted to make sure that his client was, quote, treated as a mentally ill person and not a cop killer. Now, I kind of agree with that. I don't think he was a cop killer. I think he was not in his right mind, and I think he should be treated like any other mentally ill person that commits a crime, he said. Teresa Larkin, Ryan Hinton's aunt, said she knew something was different about Rodney Hinton that Friday morning. I've known Rodney since he was 15 years old. That wasn't the Rodney that I knew. It was like his soul wasn't even in his body, she told NBC News after the bond hearing. That's right, Miss Sharifa. He was fleeing according to the body cameras. We can't listen to white folks' mouths moving because every time y'all moving it on the police force, a lot of times y'all just lying like liars do. Liars lie. It goes on. Y'all bear with me because I want us to have as many facts as possible, okay? And I can only imagine what he felt when he saw that video, she said emotionally, because when I finally seen it and I watched that video from the beginning, I'm quoting her here, to the end and watched my nephew drop, it was like my soul left my body. So I can only imagine how his father felt. Larkin says she was at the hearing to support Rodney and to ensure, quote, my nephew's name don't get swept underneath the rug because of this. Quote, because we're going to get justice for Ryan because what they did to him was not right. Somebody just said the video coverage has been altered. The videotape that showed on TV was clear, but the one they showed to the public was altered. Look, I wouldn't put nothing past these devils. I don't know exactly what you're talking about there, so I want to be clear about that, but I'm saying it's not far off on how these devils work. How many of y'all know white media, both conservative white media especially, and certainly including liberal white media, love to back up white folks in their madness? Because what both sides understand, no matter how much white liberals talk about gun control, which, by the way, for those of you that don't know, it's the white Republicans that started gun control. Do you all know that? Do you all know that when some of our Black Panther family, for example, in the 70s, in particular, especially in California, when they were legally ascertaining guns, do you all know who the governor of California was at the time before he became president? I just gave you a big hint. Somebody tell me what man ended up being president was a former governor of California before I tell you the story. Kurt, your gift is blessed 1,000-fold. Kurt said, good work, sis. May the ancestors continue to bless you. Thank you, precious. Your gift is blessed 1,000-fold. Somebody tell me where I'm going with this. If you follow me, y'all already know. I got some intelligent people in the chat. Ronald Reagan. So don't you let these funny-looking, demonic, conservative Republicans lie to you and make it seem like it's just the Democrats that believe in gun control. It's the Republicans that started this, most especially with legislation, because they were trying to stop Black folks from legally getting guns because they was on their stuff in California to let them know, you touch us, you're going to wish you hadn't. So they're the ones that started gun control in the most substantive way. Legislation. Did you all know that? And as white folks do, whenever they start doing something outrageous and they end up being constrained by something dumb they've done, then they seek to turn around and change it. So every time they come for us, just like the drug laws, they created the crack cocaine. They intentionally flooded our communities with them. They intentionally destroyed us. They intentionally created laws to entrap us, murder our people, then take the money that they raised to fund an illegal war that they was doing. I hope y'all know that. And then when they turn around and they start dying disproportionately of fentanyl, All of a sudden, Trump and Biden and everybody else sit up here trying to impose sanctions against China and Canada, talking about they intentionally bring allowing fentanyl to come across here to kill white folks. Family, just say no like y'all told us, white people. Take responsibility, white people, for your erratic, wild actions and your drug addictions. Take responsibility for the drug. You are dope heads. And we don't need to be rescuing you. And you ain't got nothing like our excuse. Every time white folks get caught up in a trap they created and karma that they deserve a lot of times, they want to turn around and sue everybody and the whole world's supposed to stop because of you. No. Believe it or not, I'm not going to even be before y'all long. But I want y'all to watch just this part of this clip one more time. Talk black to me, somebody. Y'all hit that thumbs up button, share, share, share. By the way, family, I got an upcoming free webinar coming up on May 18th. The free link is in the chat. How many of y'all saw where Trump came out talking about he wanted to be Pope? Everybody's trying to twist his words and claim that he was just joking. But then how many of y'all know right after that, an AI generated photo of him sitting down as the Pope was released on his platforms and the White House platforms. And now that everybody across the world is going off on Trump, now Trump lying, talking about he don't know who did it and he didn't have nothing to do with it. How did it jump on the White House websites, the White House platforms then, fool? And it was on yours. How many of y'all know there's a hidden Black reason why that's the case? How many of y'all are familiar with my teachings on the ancient Black Vatican origins? Where it's going to be that and some most of y'all know mine is the best webinars in the whole wide world. Get your free seat today. The link is in the chat. Or go to my website at Vicky Plant. The link is pinned right here in the comment section. Watch this again.
Tonight across Ohio, flags at half-staff in honor of fallen Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Henderson.
He was so well-liked and so well-known. We could fill this building with the law enforcement agencies that respect him, love him.
The recently retired 33-year veteran was working traffic patrol Friday afternoon when police say he was intentionally struck by the father of a teen fatally shot the day before by an officer from a different department. Henderson later dying at the hospital.
There is a connection between these two incidents.
38-year-old Rodney Hinton Jr. is now behind bars and charged with aggravated murder. Court documents say the defendant drove across oncoming lanes of traffic through the intersection and directly at the deputy, who is wearing a fluorescent vest.
There are no evidence of skid marks. There are no evidence of trying to avoid him.
In court, Hinton's public defender calling this an emotionally charged situation. The crash happening less than 3 hours after his family says Hinton met with Cincinnati police to review body camera videos showing the shooting of his 18-year-old son, Ryan Hinton. The videos, now publicly released, show Hinton running and being shot by city police. Cincinnati police say the teen was armed and pointed a gun toward an officer who was responding to a call of a stolen vehicle.
He's got a gun on your right, on your right.
Hinton was shot about 6 seconds after officers get out of their vehicles.
Okay, family. So as we can see here, the media is saying that they're not going to release certain names and certain information, right? They're intentionally obscuring who did what, right? They're protecting a lot of folks. They're trying to tell us that the man that he ran over, the police that he ran over, was a special officer. He was recently retired. He was on traffic duty, right? They're telling us all of this stuff. Thank you for your kind compliments, family. So yes, more information is going to come out. I'm not going to be before you long, but I will be strong. This is what I'm going to say. Until we get the rest of the facts, and then I'll follow up with this later. But this is what I'm going to say. So far, we know for sure y'all lying. When you all sat up here and said that this young man was a threat, when the footage shows that he was running away. We know you're lying, whichever officer is responsible for killing him, because we know that the incident only lasted 6 seconds. Is that right, family? Now, let me tell y'all something. We're going to make sure that our brother is all right. Somebody just said that the video was altered. I believe it. Somebody else just said the same thing. Somebody else said the same thing. They believe that video was altered. Look, I wouldn't doubt it, but y'all know I'm gonna do my due diligence before I just say it. But I'm just saying I wouldn't put nothing past them. I wouldn't put nothing past them. Now, this is one of the things I wanted to emphasize as we wait for more facts, more information, because y'all see that I don't want to release names and all this kind of stuff, right? Who they claim shot him and all this stuff. Watch this, y'all. This is what I want to emphasize. Can y'all give me a couple more minutes? Can y'all give me a couple more minutes? Everybody hit that thumbs up button and share. This is what I want y'all to see. This is the part I want y'all to see. Okay, I'm gonna turn the volume down. Somebody else just said he didn't even have a gun. Child, who knows? You probably be right about that too. That's why I said we're gonna wait for some of the facts to come out, family. I'm giving you the details of what's what. Y'all know I'm not gonna sit up here and defend no police now. Y'all know I'm not gonna give them the benefit of the doubt from nothing. I'm waiting for specific names and other specifics to come out. I'm giving you all the stuff that they're saying right now, and we're gonna make sure that we understand and keep in our minds that they lie. And we understand that there's no way they're gonna have us believe that this young man was a threat. And based on what we've seen and heard so far, he was fleeing, and the incident only took 6 seconds. So no, hell no, we're not gonna believe that. 6 seconds. I already said that. So y'all know I'm not about to, y'all know I'm not last one. I'm just saying I'm waiting for further facts and all this other kind of stuff to come out. But right now, we're going to put this thing in its context. And this is what I want y'all to see. This is where I want to emphasize while we're waiting for other information to come out, right? Kurt said justice for everyone or justice for no one. If you're saying that's specific to Foundation of Black Americans, I know that's right. I'm sure that's the context in which you're saying that. Family, look at this image. Look at this image on this video. I'm gonna turn the volume down on it because I want y'all to pay attention to just the optics. Are y'all looking? Look again, fam. Look again, fam. I know y'all like Vicky. Now, what did I just show y'all?
Breaking news, the man charged with murdering Hamilton County as he's walking into the courtroom right now. We're going to be able to take this live at this moment.
Can I see? Sit down.
Okay, so let's try to armchair quarterback what we believe is going on here right now. So Hinton was escorted by police from Claremont County into the courtroom right here. There's some sort of commotion right outside with police officers then quickly escorting Hinton back out, likely for his own safety. His attorney remaining in the courtroom there with the judge. So this is, of course, the man accused of hitting and killing that retired sheriff's deputy, making his no bond appearance. Okay, now we're listening outside.
So obviously words being exchanged right there between...
Words that we can't put on TV, so we need to kill the mic there for just a little bit.
Right, but you're still taking a live look. So this is just outside, kind of giving you a perspective here. This is just outside of Room A. So this is down in the Hamilton County Courthouse there. You can see, obviously, a number of sheriff's deputies. They were there on Saturday lined up. They're there today lined up as well. And now at this point, obviously, you know, folks very emotional over this case. So they did have to remove Hinton at this point. And if you recall, Hinton actually, as we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, is being housed in the Claremont County Jail because of security reasons, because of these tensions that are likely, still occurring. This is a live look. This is not even recorded video. This is watching.
Okay, now I need y'all to stop real quick and look at me. You see this white lady sitting up here talking about where he's being housed, likely because of the tension that we're seeing right here on camera. Let me tell y'all something. Ain't nobody black trying to kill our brother. Quiet as this is kept, everybody is putting money together for his defense and his books. That's the word on the street, black streets, FBA streets in particular. Let me tell you what white folks are doing right here. Did you all see the beginning of this footage? What did I say in the beginning? If you all are just coming in, watch my whole broadcast, because I read from the news on this. I showed you all the clip, but reports have been going around saying it was 30 police officers. The report I just read you said how many police officers was there? Family, let everybody know that I'm reading you word for word what's being reported. How many police officers did I tell you all, based on what the article I read, how many police officers did the article say was actually in court? 50. Watch this. I want y'all to see how the media is trying to set this up by saying, please pay close attention. Watch this again.
At this point, and if you recall, Hinton actually, as we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, is being housed in the Claremont County Jail because of security reasons, because of these tensions that are likely, still occurring. This is a live look. This is not even recorded video. This is.
She said because of these live tensions. No trick, it ain't no tension like that with him. So stop showing that picture like it's the black man. You know what I'm telling you? Y'all know what I'm telling y'all this? Y'all know what I'm telling you this? It ain't black folks that we need to be worried about in this instance taking out our brother. It's them white boys behind bars that are the police that will make it appear that somebody else killed our brother. And so the media wants to have images without letting you hear the sound of the black man talking. When some reports were saying that one of the people that was screaming out was saying, that's my brother, that's my brother. But they want that image out there to make it look like, without telling you the context and without letting you hear the man's voice, it make it appear that the man got a problem, right? Or we got to hurry and rush out brother Rodney, because look at this big Negro. Y'all better pay attention. Let me tell y'all something. 50 police officers. And some of you all, hopefully you ain't dumb enough to be thinking that our brother was arrogant when he held his head up. Let me tell y'all something. I was dealing with some powerful entities and forces many years ago when I was exposing people on multiple levels, local, state, and federal, Wall Street, and high-level officials. A lot of information I learned as I was moving along in some of my activism solo in order to save my own properties and possessions and so forth. I came across a whole lot of information, people that were close to me and other folks that use those individuals that I was initially upset with. It was some other powerful entities that was involved in some stuff. And so as I began to research and as I began to report it on a local level, I started to get media attention because of my fight for justice after starting to lose everything. After that, I was being targeted in more ways than I can tell you. Some of you all are unfamiliar with the fact that your sister with the curly braids did not just deal with the federal unjust criminal situation. Before that, locally, I was dealing with some stuff. And I beat the police by myself in a trial. And before I could even finish the trial locally, they asked that the case be stopped because I had them. And because they lost that against me, they kept going. And they slipped up and said as much in court. And this information was also released in some of my other civil trials where I was fighting for justice. Because there were multiple layers for my fight in multiple courts. So I knew I was being targeted. And then I got information and emails that proved it. And then they started to try to target people around my particular circles and I learned information that they didn't want me to know. Let me tell you something. After enduring several weeks unjust trial, fraudulent information, no expert witnesses to help me, the collusion of my attorney, and even after the conviction, after that, before there was even a sentence, there were special sessions that were held because of the injustice of what my attorney did during trial. And the courts covered it up and instead fired the attorney, but then turned around and gave me another attorney that was already in the pocket of the judge and tried to persuade me from doing anything otherwise. Not only that, the defense top attorney that ran that district, that federal district, he pulled me in and tried to threaten me and tell me that if I expose what the attorney did to the judge, she's going to throw the book at me. Some of you Negroes that put your mouth on me ought to be careful. As nosy and as devilish as some of you, and with all the access that you have to find out the truth, you don't seem to be real interested in that. Always first class, your gift is blessed 1,000-fold. Why am I bringing that up? Nearly a year later, during sentencing, after an unjust several weeks trial, and the difficulty of all the stuff that was taking place, and the fact that I still wouldn't back down, the judge was upset because I was still fighting my other civil cases while that situation was still going. She thought that was going to humble me. Guess what happened during my trial? On the entire right side of the court was filled with nothing but white people that were not directly involved in the case. They were involved in some civil suits and folks were taking off lunch to come see what would become of Vicki Dillard. Y'all ain't hearing me today. Auntie, your gift is blessed 1,000-fold. If I miss some of your gifts, please forgive me, but all of your gifts are blessed. Some of you don't know what it takes to stand there flat-footed under threats that you can talk about and threats that they try to silence you from. Some of you don't know what it's like to have fought and won prior to that particular case. And some of you don't know what it takes to stand there while the rest of the court is filled with people that are meant to intimidate you and to put you in your place. I got mad respect for that brother because those devils allow 50 police officers into the court. How dare the judge do that? They want to impose psychological warfare on you to say, Negro, how dare you even feel comfortable trying to come at one of us because one of us took the lives of your son. No, we're not going to put all the information out there, but how dare you even try to come for us? Police are dirty. And the issue ain't it ain't going to be no other inmate in there that he needs to be worried about, except for one that might be paid off and one that might have life and wants to get some kind of wicked commissary, some money on their books commissary, or get some kind of illegal contraband in there. There's no other benefit. They can use an inmate like that, but typically speaking, they don't have no motive on their own. It's the police that might try to do something to this brother. And they want to set it up to where it looks like it's somebody, it's somebody on our own. Juanita, your gift is blessed 1,000-fold. So I want our brothers and sisters to be on the lookout, to fight for our brother, to make sure that y'all keeping a real good eye on him, even though there's a lot of stuff you can't see when he's behind bars. Police are dirty. They're the ultimate liars. When I dealt with an unjust trial and when I was behind bars, y'all have no idea how tricky them devils inside the police are. My father was among staff. They were saying that this girl, Vicki, she got too much power. I said, the staff said it about me. I had a cold-blooded hand, baby. And I was writing some grievances that was getting a lot of them in trouble. And they was trying to shut me up. So they will move you around. They will mess with whatever prison jobs they give you. They'll try to put a plant of an inmate in the same place as you to try to get something on you. They never could with me, baby. And it was killing them. It was killing them. You all don't know what it takes to stand there flat-footed and your name rung through the media. Lies. And you have to stand there with a bunch of white folks that take off work to come see what become of you. And the judge with her arrogant ass looks at me in my face in my 30s and says to me, you'll be fairly young by the time you get out. And brags about how she's showing me grace. Let me tell you something. If some of you understand the situation, and if you don't, just keep your mouth shut. And keep his books fat. And keep your eyes on our brother. And if you know somebody that's in the region in Ohio, and you know somebody that's behind bars, because you all know how to send messages, make sure he good. I said, make sure he good. I said, make sure he's good. And you know what that means. Some of you don't believe we're at war. And some of you all still give your 500-year-old open enemy the benefit of the doubt, which makes you a real devil. I don't have no respect for some of you hip-hop artists that's out there talking about you Christians and bragging about how somebody acted like Jesus in their response. You better get your out my face. You could never have the energy or the strength or the fortitude to hold it down, baby. Be in multiple prisons, multiple jails, buses, cars, planes, black box, shackled, stripped. You couldn't know what that means, baby, and still be in your right mind and deal with enemies you can see and those that you can't. Nigga, please, you better shut your mouth, stand back, and let us do this. You ain't got what it takes. I ain't talking about you just being locked up. I'm talking about you still being in your right mind, baby. I'm talking about how you go through and still doing warfare. And then some of you got the nerve to put your mouth on me. The hell? The hell? You better watch your mouth. You could never know. Not the mental energy to hold that down and then still doing your thing. By holding those the powers that shouldn't be accountable.
Hey, ladies, change, man.
No, hell no.
No.
I don't care what the other circumstances are.
Yeah.
This is the only time I want to hear black folks talking about prayers up.
Right.
And make sure our brother good. I said, make sure if you in Ohio and you know somebody about, you better make sure he's good.
Right.
I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. You justify your family member that murders for Americans. You brag about your family member and the awards that they get and the number of tours they've done around the world.
Killed that off.
And in some cases, the likely individuals that they may have murdered on behalf of white, racist America. You understand that killing. You understand that warfare. You brag about them. But you don't have that same understanding for warfare with Black Americans.
Right.
Your wicked mind can justify fighting for America when you know they lie, when you know they kill, when you know they steal, when you know they murder. But proof they got you programmed is when your mind doesn't go right, when they stand 10 feet down. What's the phrase? I ain't even saying it right. 10 toes down for your own. He may have did it messy, but he was doing it for his babies. He did it for his child. What we know is white folks commit murder and they get away with it. What we know is some of our Democrat families understand the war on the Palestinians, but they don't understand this genocide here. What we know is that Democrats, Congress people fly to El Salvador for illegals. What we know is y'all sit up here talk about the separation of families. But baby, when I was handcuffed like this right here, black box, when I was shackled, didn't nobody give a damn about what my mama was sitting there having to deal with. And her daughter trying to live an upright and perfect life. Ninja, please. Y'all wasn't saying nothing when she didn't know where I was at? Y'all wasn't saying nothing, baby? Nothing about that. I was writing some of y'all. Some of you knew the injustice of what I was dealing with, but did nobody come to my rescue? And all of the Christians and the believers and the other religious folks were scared to death to rock with me. Better get out of my face. Just hush, black family. Make sure he good in every way. And if you just so happen to have to be in the jury, black family, do what's right. I said, do what's right in that deliberation box back there. You know what I'm talking about. Get the word out on the street.
Right.
I said, get the word out on the street.
What I missed? How much?
You better make sure he good. That's why can't nobody tell me nothing. That's why spirit rocks with me like this. And that's why you ought to be careful when you come against me. I'm good. How people do me today, ninja. I can bless y'all. I can give you ideas. I can give you my magic. I can give you my loyalty. And then you still screw me. I'm good, mortal.
She's just talking about her experience.
And some of you know what I've been through. And you still jealous and hating, and you still don't care. That's why for some of you that sit up there and say, so-and-so don't know what she been through, Nikki, don't matter what I went through. So that you can secretly rejoice and say, okay, that justify me not putting my mouth on her, me not coming against her. Watch this. Me not trying to do magic against her. Me not openly threatening her.
Got twin in the building.
Me suppressing her, hiding from her, distancing myself from her. Y'all got me real messed up. Baby.
He said it was graduated. Yeah, I don't know if it graduated or what.
Y'all better understand spirit ain't playing with y'all. It's a new day. And we not keen on y'all killing us. You want us to respect the law for well-dressed criminals that made it illegal, that made it legal to enslave us, that made it legal to discriminate against us, that made it legal to kill us.
Also got them out.
It's a new day, baby. It's a new day. My name is Vicky Diller, beloved. You can only imagine what my webinar, free webinar, is going to be about this upcoming May 18th. Be sure to click the link above and save your seat today. I'm going to be discussing the very black hidden reason why Trump, for real, wanted to be the Pope. And what that's all about. Of course, y'all know I'm going to take it further. I always do. Somebody said I was drawn to your energy. Thank you, beloved. Somebody else said, come on, Vicky. Somebody else said, go.
Yeah, that is. Did he just cook the first meal for me ever? All right. So we're gonna go to the last topic, and that is Tyre Nichols, state murder trial. Former cops found not guilty in his state murder trial.
Which I think is complete and absolute bullshit.
I agree. Thank you, Sister Vicky, for that.
We want to get to breaking news now out of Memphis. A jury has found 3 former police officers charged in the deadly beating of Tyre Nichols not guilty on all 7 state counts. The officers' charges included second-degree murder, aggravated assault, and aggravated kidnapping. Last year, the 3 were among a total of 5 convicted on federal charges, including witness tampering. Police camera footage captured officers kicking and punching Nichols after he fled a January 2023 traffic stop. He died 3 days after the beating. CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca has been following this case every step of the way. And Omar, remember that video when it came out, just so tremendously disturbing and upsetting. Take us through this decision.
Well, of course, the judge came forward and the court said that the verdict had been reached. So everybody came on in and they filed in. The judge told everyone not to, no outbursts in the court, which is pretty typical. in emotional cases like this. And as you mentioned, Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Justin Smith, all found not guilty. They each faced 7 charges, the big one being second-degree murder. That was punishable by up to 15 to 25 years in prison, official oppression, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, all those charges that you mentioned, all not guilty. A little background here on this jury, though. This happened in Memphis, Shelby County, near the Arkansas border. That's where Memphis is. Well, during the course of this trial, they were saying we needed to find an impartial jury. So they had to go 300 plus miles to Chattanooga area, Hamilton County, to find that jury. So the jury is not from Memphis. They are from Hamilton County, 300 plus miles away. We found out it is an all-white jury. There were no African Americans on that jury. The jury, and Memphis is a predominantly African-American town. So that's something that now people are talking about. A little bit more of some perspective here. There was a federal trial before this, and those officers either pled guilty or were found guilty of charges, but they were lesser charges, everything from excessive force with injury and witness tampering. They have not been sentenced for the federal crimes that they were convicted of, so we're going to wait to see. But the families are looking for justice, and now they're not going to get it from the state side. They feel they're going to have to get it from the federal. But we have to see with those lesser charges what kind of sentence comes from that.
Any reaction that you're tracking so far?
It's very early. Some of the family is in there. They were quiet. They weren't allowed, obviously, no outbursts of any sort. But we're waiting to see if they come out and speak. Interesting note that we do have some reporting from Elise Preston also told us that the prosecution brought 5 witnesses forward. The defense brought 17 witnesses. And keep in mind, the burden of proof is on the prosecution to prove their case. That's what they used, 5 witnesses. The defense used 17 witnesses, and maybe that weighed in on the jury. They polled the jury. It was unanimous on their decision-making, but unless the jurors want to talk to find out what exactly convinced them, we may never know.
This is a shot inside the courthouse right now that we are watching. There were 2 other officers who did not stand in this trial. Where do they fall in the case?
Mm-hmm. Well, some of them were involved in the federal trial, and some of them also testified in cases too, talking about their action. Now, the defense basically, part of their argument was that everything that they were doing was part of their training. They were saying the whole time that Tyre Nichols, when you saw the video of the beating, they said they kept on asking him to comply. They kept on asking him to comply and give him his hands so they could put him in cuffs. And the defense kept on saying, once the cuffs were on, the beating stopped. Now, there was arguments of prosecution saying this was excessive force, this is what caused it, and that nobody was stopping anybody else from hitting him. And the prosecution was relying on that, hoping that the jury would see that as enough to reach that bar for second-degree murder. But as we learned just a few minutes ago, it was not. They were not guilty on all charges.
What happens next in this case? What are you tracking?
Well, there's going to be civil, first of all. And granted, there's no jail time for a civil case. This could challenge, obviously, the way Memphis PD operates. And that's no solace. That's not going to bring back Nichols for their family. But we want to see what kind of punishment is going to be handed down on the federal case, which already happened. But again, those officers were convicted on lesser charges. There was no murder charge. Like I said, the charges were excessive force with injury and witness tampering on the federal level, not the second-degree murder that would have gotten 15 to 25 on the state level.
Okay. Omar Villafranca, thank you. Let's bring in CBS News legal contributor Rebecca Roife now. What is your reaction to this verdict?
I think it's extremely significant, especially given the fact that this administration, this federal administration, has indicated that it is less interested in pursuing police reform than previous administrations and is backing off those kinds of efforts. So we're going to see fewer of the kinds of cases that settled earlier for these police officers, and more will rest on what states do and what state juries do. And so I think a lot of people are paying attention to this, and it is a significant case because it is not sending the messages that the families of the victim would have wanted here and other activists would have wanted, instead sending a very different message.
Right, he was pulled over, and then later the Memphis police chief found that there was no real reason to pull him over. He had fled the traffic stop. run toward his mother's house, was screaming for her while this was happening. I want to see if you can pick up on what Omar was talking about in terms of the difference between the state and federal charges and the severity, the state charges being second-degree murder, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, amongst other state charges. Omar saying that the second-degree murder could have called for 15 to 20 years in prison versus the federal charges that they were found guilty of, which was witness tampering and excessive force.
Right, exactly. I mean, there were federal charges of civil rights violations resulting in death or injury, but those are not the charges that they pled guilty to. So these other charges are going to result in, much less significant sentences, especially given the fact that they were pleas. And so, again, I mean, of course it's significant. Any amount of jail time is significant, and that does send a message. But I think the message is muted in large part by this verdict, which, is loud and clear, given the fact that they didn't find even any of these lesser charges that the police officers were guilty. And so as a result, yes, there will be some consequences and some accountability. And that's important, as Omar was saying. It's really important that we, look at this not just from a criminal justice perspective, but from the perspective of police reform. And that may indeed happen within Memphis and within other cities. But, to the extent that you're looking for some, big deterrent and big, moment of accountability and a moment in which we really think about what our relationship to police are and police brutality, this is not that moment.
Let's go ahead and listen to some of the live remarks that we're capturing outside the courthouse.
Those who are sworn to uphold it.
What do you think the, what just didn't connect? What do you think it was? Was it the training? Was it the character witnesses? What do you think it was?
It's so hard to figure that out. It could be any number of a million things. And I am disinclined to try to say, oh, we should have done this differently or we should have done that differently, because I think the trial team did an excellent job. Obviously you had a situation where, arguably two of the more culpable defendants were not present. Then that allowed the remaining defendants to point the finger at others. I personally think that when you take a look at all of the evidence, that shouldn't matter. Perhaps the jury took a different view. It's just impossible to say.
I know it's very early, but is this a case that you all are looking to retry?
I think it is too early for us to say that. I don't know what the grounds would be for that. We do have to accept the finality of a jury verdict in most cases.
Any thoughts about the jury being from Chattanooga and an all-white jury?
Obviously, people have mentioned that as an issue. I'm not going to speculate about that. I think it's a testimony to the fairness of our criminal justice system that we bent over backwards to get a jury from another jurisdiction to assure that the defendants were given a fair trial. Beyond that, I don't think I should comment.
The defense worked on pointing at Emmett Martin as the most violent of everyone there. It seems that the man have landed with the jury. You're securing a guilty plea for Emmett Martin. Can you talk a little more about his involvement?
Well, obviously, I think the proof speaks for itself, and Mr. Martin was, extremely involved and culpable, and played a key role in the unjustified death of Tyre Nichols. What's going to happen over at the federal court and what will happen with his case remains to be seen.
What kind of conversation did you have with Tyre Nichols' family when they left today?
We spoke to them briefly. Obviously, they were devastated. I think you could imagine that they would be devastated. I think they were outraged, and I think we can understand why they'd be outraged by this result, given the evidence. They quite understandably decided that they needed to go home and process all this, and we're going to give them that respect and respect their privacy.
What sort of message does this give to specifically the Memphis Police Department, who just got done with this pattern and practice investigation and really doesn't have to grapple with the consequences of that either?
Right. So it's important to note that, there have been guilty verdicts over on the federal side. I'm not going to speculate about what will happen over on the federal side, but it's not like there have been no consequences whatsoever from the tragic killing of Tyre Nichols. I personally think that if we're going to make any sense of this tragedy, if we're going to have any silver lining from this dark cloud of both the event itself and, in my view, today's verdict, it has to be that we need to reaffirm our commitment to police reform and to doing what we need to do to make sure that tragedies like this don't happen again. And I remain committed to that. I'm sure the city of Memphis remains committed to that, and we're not giving up on that.
Are you surprised that they didn't? Because they could have gone for lesser charges than second-degree murder. What, 9 different charges they could have gotten, and they didn't even have to go to those. Did that surprise you?
Was I surprised that there wasn't a single guilty verdict on any of the counts or any of the lesser included offenses, given the overwhelming evidence that I think that we presented? Yes, I was surprised. Do I have an explanation for it? No.
How much did the state rely on the videos from that night, the Skycop video, the body cam videos? How much did you all rely on that as far as this trial goes?
Well, I mean, you saw the evidence. You saw the trial as well as I. I think it speaks for itself. Certainly the videos were a big part of the state's case, as they understandably would be. But I don't think the trial team relied entirely on the videos. I think they brought to bear witness testimony, very effective cross-examination of the defense witnesses, and some compelling opening and closing arguments. And I think when you add it all together, I think the state did a hell of a job. I'm not Monday morning quarterbacking about any of the decisions the trial team made. I think they did an excellent job. They're a credit to our office. You know, anybody who does any kind of jury trial work knows that you just can't predict what a jury will do. Them's the breaks, and it's a bitter pill to swallow, particularly in a case like this. But like I said, we can strongly disagree with the jury's verdict, but we nonetheless respect the jury.
Do you have any messages for people in the community who have had direct confrontations with not only the Scorpion team, but other police officers? There are federal lawsuits that are currently underway, people who have accused the Memphis Police Department of brutality. Do you have any message to them?
I guess my message to the community would be twofold. A, even if you were out there outraged by this verdict, please respond in a lawful, peaceful manner. Second, as I said earlier, with respect to any charge of violation of the law, including by those who are sworn to uphold it, we'll enforce the law. And just as we did aggressively in this case, we'll do that in any other case in which the facts and the law suggest that anybody in the law enforcement community or anybody else has violated the law and used excessive force.
Does Mr. Hackerman or Hitley or Johnson have any comment?
Yeah, please.
Y'all tried the case.
Hacker?
We tried real hard. We fought real hard in there. We knew this was always going to be difficult. As DA Mulroy said, we're trying the 3 least culpable in terms of, obviously, Mr. Martin was the primary actor, and he's entered a guilty plea. Mr. Mills with the baton strikes, again, a primary actor, and he's entered a guilty plea.
Yeah.
So we knew this trial would be hard. I think y'all saw us fight in there. We did the best we could, and the family, they've been great through this. Today's heartbreaking to them, but they've been with us fighting.
What is it like for you all to go through all of this and looking at the video and talking with the family and definitely expecting something else?
It's disappointing. It's heartbreaking. You try cases. It's a business of trying cases, though. Okay, there's always a risk and there's reward, but we keep on going. We try to get justice, and I think we tried hard in there this week to get justice. I know the family was behind us, and we didn't get the result we wanted or they wanted, but they've thought about Tyre obviously a lot this week, and they're thinking about Tyre now. And
Dylan, Tanisha, Nathan,
was there any bit of evidence that was presented over the last week and a half, or any argument made by the defense that felt particularly salient to you guys, that you kind of were like, this kind of sucks to deal with and try and like move around?
I don't think we can at this point sort of, like I said, Monday morning quarterback or think retroactively about this or that. This blow was particularly powerful, that one was particularly powerful. I think structurally, as Mr. Hagman has already mentioned, the 2 defendants who were most culpable weren't present in the courtroom. All right. That doesn't mean that the remaining 3 defendants weren't culpable. You know, you heard our arguments in there about criminal responsibility, people being responsible for the acts of another, the duty to intervene, the duty to take affirmative steps at what was clearly, you know, a person being beaten to death. That was a structural part of the trial that was a challenge for the trial team. Other than that, I think it's hard to identify any one thing, and it's hard to get inside the mind of the jury.
Will this verdict, is this going to affect Emmett Martin's plea deal at all, or any sentence he may receive when he does this?
That's up to the federal court. You know, we really can't speculate on that.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're not really prepared to talk about that just yet, because what we're doing is we're waiting to see what happens over with the federal sentencing. And once we see what happens with the federal sentencing, we'll have a better idea of what we want to do with that case.
And my last question about the jury, because obviously the jury made the decision, but those who don't understand the process, I know you all want an unbiased jury, but why Chattanooga? Where did that come from as far as that jurisdiction?
I didn't know.
Yeah, there was a motion filed defense to change venue, and there was a study done of the amount of publicity in the various large cities in Tennessee, and it was found that Chattanooga had the lowest amount of pretrial publicity with regard to this case, and so that's why it was chosen.
All right. Thank you all very much.
All right. We were just listening to members of the prosecuting team reacting to the not guilty verdict to state charges against 3 of the officers involved in the beating death of Tyre Nichols. And we were hearing from District Attorney for Shelby County, Stephen Mulroy, as well as some of the prosecutors who led the trial team. I want to bring in CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca back because, Omar, we heard quite a bit from DA Mulroy there about whether they're going to retry the case. He said, you know, he doesn't know on what grounds they would do that for. He mentioned he had spoken with the Nichols family. They are outraged and devastated. He mentioned commitment to police reform in Memphis and that he was surprised by the verdict and at this point didn't have an explanation as to why it went that way.
Well, and he also mentioned talking about that Bean, Haley, and Smith, he kind of framed them as not the main culprits. The main culprits being Desmond Mills and Emmett Martin, who pled guilty to charges. They were not on trial. Basically calling them, these 3 former officers, kind of lesser actors, but still
they were all
involved.
complicit.
So what happens next, we're going to have to wait and see. In these civil trials, I've covered enough of these, that in these civil trials, sometimes you can get a different verdict. And mind you, this is something where there's damages that can be awarded from the city may have to pay the family, and the county having to pay the family. And sometimes that's the only way that sometimes police departments are forced to change their mode of operating. And I've covered cases like this in Texas and in South Carolina. So it makes police departments look at themselves. So while the jail time, they're going to have to wait for the punishment on the federal charges, which were lesser. Whether that leads to reform on the state level or the city level, the impetus may be the civil trial.
And I want to ask you about Martin and Mills, the 2 officers who prosecuting team do point to as being the most culpable, those who pled guilty to the state charges. Did I hear the DA correctly, and that they are going to wait for the sentencing from the federal charges to ascertain what they're going to ask for in terms of sentencing? Again, for these 2 officers not involved in this state trial case who were just found not guilty.
They were found not guilty.
I believe you're correct, because mind you, there was plea deals on the federal level, but the punishments have not come down on the federal level just yet. They were waiting to see what happens on the state level. And the reason why, also probably to see what was happening here, but the lawyers also kind of don't want to step on each other's toes on the federal level and the state level, and then give a jury a chance on the state level, you know, to weigh their judgment. They obviously did. But, you know, and again, pointing to Mills and Martin being the bigger culprits in this. Martin was the one with the baton. If you happen to see the video, it's pretty brutal. You see the baton hits. And Mills obviously being involved with punching strikes. So there's going to be a lot of eyes also on the punishment for them for the federal level. And then again, I know I go back to this, but that civil trial, while it will not enact any jail time, that is the lesson, the pocketbook lesson that Shelby County and Memphis may have to deal with, which could lead to reforms.
Omar, hang out with us if you can. I want to bring Rebecca Wafey back. Rebecca, a couple things that the DA mentioned and that Omar and I have been discussing that I want to ask of you. First off, when it comes to the two that were most culpable, according to DA Mulroy, Martin and Mills, whom they have guilty pleas from, they said it doesn't mean the remaining three don't bear some responsibility. And then they talked about the duty to intervene. Can you go into that for us?
Sure, absolutely. So, first of all, we're looking at criminal laws here, and that, the burden of proof is on the government to show that these, these were offenses that have very specific elements that were committed beyond a reasonable doubt. And so, there are so it depends exactly on what law you're talking about, whether or not there's a duty to intervene and and to what extent that exists. And I think that's very important in the world of police reform, because that's where we see, room to push police officers, whether or not, there's a criminal verdict of guilty or not, but to behave in a way that we think as a community, our police officers should. And so that's built into the criminal law. And the fact that the jury did not find that there was a duty here does not mean that in other contexts there aren't duties, and that they don't matter, especially in the civil context. As Omar was saying, those cases will also help highlight what that duty is and in what context it pertains in these particular cases.
One of the prosecutors was also asked about the venue. Omar had been telling us that there had been a request for a venue change, for it not to be in Memphis. This took place in Chattanooga before an all-white jury. The trial attorney was asked why Chattanooga, how did that come about? And he said that there was a survey and they found that that was the area that had the lowest amount of pre-trial publicity. What does that mean?
So when you're looking for a change in venue, the assumption is, if you're going to change the venue, that the jurors in a particular area have been exposed to just too much media and too much publicity on a particular subject to be fair and unbiased. And so if there's a determination that a change of venue is appropriate, what it essentially means is that you want to look for a venue where that is not the case. And so what the prosecutor was saying was that this was the closest venue that they could find, where their surveys showed that the public had not been so tainted by particular knowledge or preconceptions of what happened in this case that they could sit on this jury and judge impartially.
When might we expect sentencing on the federal charges, the lesser charges for these three officers?
I would imagine that would come, things go at different paces, so it's not, it's not clear, but it should be, now that they've had this was one of the holdups. Obviously, they were waiting for this to happen, so I imagine they get themselves together in the next couple of months. We should see some kind of consequences in the federal case.
Is there anything that you want to touch on in terms of the civil aspect that Omar was talking about?
Well, I just want to say, I thought that there was, a couple of things that were said at that press conference were really important to highlight. And that is that, the fact that there was not a conviction here does not mean that something terribly wrong did not happen, and that there wasn't a tragedy, and that this tragedy could not have been averted. And I think it's important to look to those civil cases because they can push the police department in that direction, but so can the public. And I think it's extremely important to not end our interest in these questions with criminal cases, because criminal cases are just so idiosyncratic because of juries, and they're also very specific in terms of what has to be proven and in what way and with what burden of proof. And so that does not mean that there will not be accountability. There isn't accountability. And even aside from accountability, the more important thing is, or at least as important, is that this be prevented from ever happening again. There are certainly things that could have been averted, whether or not there's criminal liability.
Okay, Rebecca, let's go back to Omar. Omar, I believe I misspoke when I said the jury all white. There's an important distinction here. Can you talk to us about that?
Well, yeah, part of the jury, what I wanted to say is the jury pool was from Hamilton County, was from Chattanooga. They weren't from Memphis and Shelby County. So the jury pool, from what we, the trial, everything was Memphis-based. Now, we've had reporters, and the DA you heard was asked about the jury. There was no African Americans on that jury. And now, granted, we want to see the boxes that, if you've ever been called for jury, you check a box, for race and whatnot. And you can tell, but you don't know how people look. I don't have eyes on the jury, and the TV and the cameras can't show the jury. So that's something that we want to clarify. But the DA was asked, was it an all-white jury? It was an all-white jury going on, and we feel comfortable saying yes about that right now. But the fact that the jury was from 300 plus miles away from Memphis, I'm not sure how much the viewers are familiar with the demographics of Tennessee, and Memphis is over here on the border with Arkansas. You have to go all the way across the state, 300 plus miles to find a jury. Completely different makeup of people. Memphis being a predominantly African-American city, Chattanooga and Hamilton County not being predominantly African-American. So did that play a role? We'll have to see. Now, they did poll the jury before they read the verdicts, and they basically had to say, was this unanimous? And they kind of do that to make sure that everything is, I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And it was unanimous. But until somebody's able to speak to the jury and hear, maybe what swayed them in that room, it's kind of hard to tell. You heard the DA Mulroy say, you never know what a jury is going to decide, how they're interpreting evidence. We're not even sure, if there was questions. Usually if there's a jury question, it'll come out to the judge and go back and forth. But that wasn't asked during the course. Did you have any questions or clarifications? So we didn't hear about that. Obviously, the family being very disappointed in the state case. They're going to have to look to see what happens on the federal level. When it comes to the sentencing and the civil trial, mistakes, if there was mistakes made during the state and the federal, the civil trial being the last one kind of has the last chance to look at and say, okay, don't make this mistake again. Let's see if we can get it right on this time. And maybe if that happens, that's where there's possible reform. And that's what the DA has been saying there.
Rebecca, final thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's right. There's a different burden of proof, which is much lesser in the civil cases. And it's important to watch what happens in those cases. It's less obviously splashy. And there's I think it's less satisfying for victims and some of the advocates for the victims. But I think, you can see consequences there that are important and really, change going forward.
Rebecca Roifi and Omar Villafranca, thank you for joining us on this breaking news.
About this.
All right, right now, let's kind of shift gears back to the National Civil Rights Museum.
And we understand that Tyre Nichols' family has arrived there. Let's take a look.
Gave the sixth haymaker to Tyre Nichols. Yesterday, to Darius Bean, Justin Smith, and Demetrius Haley, gave another kick, a deadly kick, to Tyre Nichols and his family. But we stand with this family to lift this family up in prayer and to call on the God of justice. To deliver real justice for Tyre Nichols. But we were not under any illusion yesterday or last week in trial with an all-white jury from Hamilton County in Chattanooga. We were not under any illusion. But it just wasn't any white jury from Hamilton County. It was the most racist and the most redneck jury that they could have ever found to preside over this case in the matter of justice for Tyre Nichols. It is what it is. The prosecution, they did their job.
Yes, they did.
But when you still live in America, that they don't see black people. They see police and they see blue.
Right.
And yesterday was a result of an America that has not changed. And it seems like we're living in a world, we're living in America that's not going to change. Yesterday, the whole world cried out for Tyre Nichols.
Yes, it did.
This city cried out for Tyre Nichols in sincerity. But we had a few folks who had some crocodile tears.
That's right.
We had a few folks who had a few fake tears.
Yes.
We had a few folks in the city of Memphis
Yes.
that represent the city of Memphis,
Yes.
like Mayor Paul Young. Oh, you're not getting off the hook today, sir.
Yes.
You're not getting off the hook today, sir.
Yes.
We came to call you out today.
Yes.
We came to call out Chief of Police CJ Davis. You're not getting off the hook today.
Yes. She need to be fired.
Yeah.
Fire CJ.
If you're real and you love Tyre, you don't need no goddamn prompter.
All right.
You don't need no script.
Right.
And go on social media and talk about your care and concern for Tyre Nichols and this citizen and these citizens. Mayor Young, if you love Tyre Nichols, you would have got rid of CJ Davis. It's her unit that she brought from Atlanta and created the Scorpion unit right here in Memphis, Tennessee, that produced a Tadarius Bean, a Justin Smith, a Demetrius Haley, a Emmett Martin. It is her that produced that.
Yes. And fail the training.
My Lord. So we don't need no crocodile tears from leadership. We need real change, real love, real support in the city of Memphis. This city is hurting.
Yes.
It's not hurting from the lack of money. It's not hurting from the lack of education. It's not hurting from the lack of DEI. It ain't hurting from that. What this city is hurting from is from the lack of love.
Yes.
But what is love? We need love in leadership, not political BS.
That's right.
So, as Attorney Crump said to the city of Memphis, no matter what you do, you cannot wash the blood of Tyre Nichols off your hands. The blood of Tyre Nichols is on this city. Mayor Young inherited the blood of Tyre Nichols. You got to ask yourself, what are you going to do? Because the ball is in your court now to deliver a measure of justice for the family of Tyre Nichols. You know, this judge, in my humble opinion, he should have never permitted the defense to bring in certain things that was in Tyre Nichols' car.
Yeah.
It was absolutely irrelevant to the case.
Irrelevant.
But it's okay, because Ms. Rovan and Pop, when we went to get the car from the city pound, Tyre Nichols' car, and we looked in his car, I looked at his car, and the first thing I looked in his rearview mirror. And he had an emblem on the rearview mirror that said, Black Lives Matter.
Wow.
Tyre loved his own black life.
Yes, sir.
Tyre Nichols was a humanitarian. Tyre Nichols was a man who loved humanity. We witnessed a jury that had no love for Tyre Nichols' black life.
Yeah.
They actually didn't give a damn about Tyre Nichols' black life. But we give a damn about Tyre Nichols' black life.
Right.
We love Tyre Nichols.
Yeah.
And not only do we love Tyre Nichols, God loves Tyre Nichols. And for the life of me, God did not allow Tyre Nichols to be beaten to death by these black officers, these 5 black officers. His life is not in vain. And it's interesting that those 5 black officers, Tyre Nichols' black life didn't matter to them. Tadarius Bean, Justin Smith, Demetrius Haley, justice don't sleep.
That's right.
You have not escaped justice. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that justice will lie down with you. Justice will get your babies. You all have not gave any remorse to that brutal beating that you gave to Tyre Nichols. You haven't given any remorse to this family, to Miss Rovan, to this family. And until you atone to God for that brutal beating that you put on Tyre Nichols, Tadarius Bean, Justin Smith, Demetrius Haley, until you atone to God for that brutal beating that you gave Tyre Nichols and took his life, until you atone to this woman for taking the life of her son, who screamed when he was 200 feet from his front door. He cried out 3 times to his mama. Until you atone to that woman, you will have no justice.
No justice.
No justice and no peace in your life.
No peace. No peace.
Right now, the chastisement of God is over them. They may have gotten off by an all-white jury, but there's an all-wise God that is here to deliver justice for this family. And city of Memphis, be careful in how you handle this family, because you're responsible for what happened to Tyre Nichols. You're responsible. The blood is on your hands and you cannot wash it off. You're very responsible. And if you do not do right by this family, you watch the God of justice intervene in the affairs of this family. The tornadoes will come right over this city. They'll come right over this city. Memphis sits on the new magic pole, and it'll shake the hell out of this city. And you think you gotta pay Tyre and his family, you'll be paying for a whole new downtown, because the God of justice is angry at Memphis, Tennessee.
No peace.
And Paul Young, you are the son of a preacher. I'm the grandson of a preacher. Do the right thing by God's people. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
I want to bring a part of our legal team. She's no stranger to Memphis. She's mama to Memphis. And she has been working tireless with the family of Tyre Nichols. And what better person that we can have on the legal team and a support to this family than our retired Judge Ernestine.
What's cracking, cuz?
All right.
Hearing from the family.
This location.
Yeah. They gotta get. They got.
This location is symbolic.
Once again, they talking about God.
This location is symbolic.
Fuck out of here.
Around that corner is symbolic.
God was really
Claiborne Temple.
It
was those places
that
bad, we thought that we were
still 2 more cops. They gotta get it bad though.
For justice, paying it in advance. We'd already had
these the 3 that pled not guilty. That God.
But we obviously haven't
still
paid
2
enough.
more that pled guilty that still got to get.
We obviously have not paid enough.
But I have a question or a statement to say that I'm
Yeah,
waiting
I hear you.
on
You know, it's
somebody
Memphis. You know, that's part
because
of the
I
Bible
am
Belt.
trying
You know, they is
hard
heavy on
not
that
to lean
Christianity.
to my own
Real heavy.
understanding. I am praying that it is not to my own understanding that will become a resolution to this issue. If any of you all have a true answer to what is going on, what has happened, and who has an understanding of the issues before us. And the issues are not just before Ms. Ravon and family. It is truly the issues for this city. How do you allow your city and you to be
How about the people do something?
kind of just put to the side and dismissed? We can't
Right.
find 12 or
Lady
16
Tay was saying
people
she
of
like
any
this
sort
for that street.
within Shelby County.
Come on now.
Within Shelby County that can look at things, put things aside, and do what
Everybody
is
knows
right.
what the hell they
Read what is in the paper. Read what's on the screen. Read what's in the hearts and minds of those guys, since they were talking about mens rea. Now, y'all look at mens rea because theirs had nothing to do with this. But I want you to see what it is that we did to allow the government to say that you cannot make decisions for yourself here in Shelby County. Because I'm personally tired of all my life white people telling me and making decisions for me. I'm 73 years old, and I keep saying I can make my own decisions. I know right from wrong. I have a moral compass, and I have good sense. But they have told to dismiss every one of you.
Plantation politics.
To say that there was not 12 or 16 people in this county that could put aside anything and look at things as they are and give a true and real decision. And because you have to do that every day of your life. You have to make choices. And so to say that, I had a young man that said, well, when I go to jail and get on trial, can I choose where I want my jury to come from? Now, why is it that they can have their choice and your child can't have their
They got an
choice?
all-white jury from Chattanooga.
But I dare you to ask
They didn't even
for
get
it
the
the next
jury
time
out
you
of
got one at trial and tell them you don't believe that there's a person here in this county good enough or fair enough to give you justice. So we have to look at this big picture because it is truly on the citizens of Memphis what happened to us here in Shelby County yesterday. And I don't know if I should give my theory of it, and I might get in trouble. But just let's say, my husband will be the one, but let's just say that there was a guilty verdict. That same jury came back with a guilty verdict of 5 black officers, or 3 black officers, and a black man. That would be the new bar and standard across these United States of America. So when it comes that there's a white officer somewhere beating and killing a black man, and he walks away. Now, how is it that you can find that he walks away and them 5 black guys down there in Memphis that killed a black man couldn't walk away because we found them guilty? So what's the new bar? The new bar is we just have to require righteous truth and have the courage to say that we're going to require this of each and every one of you that's in charge of our lives, our children. I am still trying to explain this to my grandson who's 12 or 13 years old. I've asked every person that I have in high regard, what can I tell them? I want you to give us an answer. I want you to find those answers when these young people think that they have no hope. If you have no hope and no faith in anything, we will be in such despair as a people and as individuals. And that is what I want most, that there's somewhere we can see hope. We can see a glimmer of light. We can see a glimmer of fairness, fundamental fairness, just basic fairness. And then we can see that there was a murder, but it was determined that nobody was in charge and responsible for that murder. So therefore, it couldn't have happened. So therefore, our lying eyes just didn't see nothing. Come on. Our lying eyes just didn't see anything.
We're seeing them beating
So
them.
let's just show up and tell them to tell the truth. And I had to tell Ms. Ravon that God has a plan. We're not quite sure of the plan. We were disappointed. She may not have been, and I know that she was, but I was very disappointed in the results even from the federal trial. I was disappointed in this jury. I was disappointed in so many things, but the only thing that I said, God was saying, I'm preparing you for this crap that's just getting ready to happen to you. I've given you this verdict. It might not have been the one that you wanted. I gave you two people that decided they're going to accept responsibilities for their actions. It might not be enough, but if he hadn't done that, where would we and this city be at this very moment if we did not have something else that has sustained us? We didn't have our own understanding. We didn't know why it was happening like this. But I believe it's so we can get beyond this point. I don't know what's beyond this point, but there
Now
has
you're
to
making
be
excuses
something
on why
beyond this point. And let us not lean to our own understanding, because that is not a safe thing.
Okay,
If
I see
I
where you're
lean
coming from.
to my own understanding, and we have to trust that there's a reason. And one young lady said that this might be Tyre's legacy, that his death would be the beginning of police reform in these United States. Let's force that to be the payment. Let's force that to be what he paid for. That we will have police reform that makes sense and treat people with dignity and respect.
Abolish the
and
police.
Then you need to train them. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just can't
that's
see
right,
that
that's
you got
nothing but-
5 people under 35 years old running amok within this
And then
community,
not to be
and you
slave
got
catchers.
one person training and supervising 8 people of that age. They ain't had
No,
enough life to
not
know.
Kill black
And
people.
so I say training or the lack thereof, but it certainly
No, they've been trained.
was not
That's
a
what
mission
they
to do anything right and just. The death of Tyre will have a value attached to it beyond our means and abilities to think. It may not be today, but it's gonna be there. Trust God. Trust yourself. Develop a moral compass and stop being chicken. When there is something wrong, be courageous. You got a backbone. You have a backbone.
Tell him, Judge.
I'm from Orange Mountain, Tennessee, and I always say that I got a backbone. They asked me, they said, well, what they gonna do? I said, what you mean, what are they gonna do to me? What can they do to me? Well, Judge, you shouldn't do this. I said, well, are they gonna whoop my butt? But you need to stand and say what's right. But get courage, get a backbone in every one of you standing up. You got a spine, and I need you to be courageous for your own survival, for your children's survival. I want you to be able to answer the questions. What happened yesterday? What did they see? What did they not see? And why is it that we may always have to walk in fear that we may be Tyre Nichols? We may be the Rovon Wells of this country, and we don't want that for any mother, any family. So it's up to you. Just deal with reality and protect yourself, but protect the community.
And hit record.
And hit record. To God be the glory for the things he's done and the things he's going to do. And I know he ain't gonna allow me to lean out to my own understanding. God bless you.
Thank you, Judge.
Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name.
Man, we wouldn't even be standing right here. We wouldn't even know Tyre Nichols' name. We wouldn't even be able to say Tyre Nichols' name if it was not for these amazing activists right here in the city of Memphis.
Thank you,
The only reason we're standing right here, and I'll make it clear, the only reason that we're standing right here in honor of Tyre Nichols is because of the activists here in Memphis, Tennessee, who answered the call to Rodney Wells and Miss Rovon Wells for their son. And with that being said, you need to know the names of these activists. Our brother, I don't know if he's here, but Cassio.
What happened to him? Right, damn, right.
Man, he know how to shake them down.
I think they're talking about the bag, so I'm guessing they got.
Man, he know how to shake them down. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Frank Gott. He here.
Yeah, they got
I don't know what Frank at, but they say he here. But we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Frank Gott.
That's why they talking like that, because Trump's on the case.
And we absolutely wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Hunter Dempsey. Come on, Hunter! You know, I got a nickname for Hunter Dempsey. I call him HD. Because, you know, he sees this police injustice in high definition. he know how to call them out. But we thank you for all your work that you continue to do, Frank and Cassio. But whenever there's a war, there's always warrior women.
Like,
there's always warrior women.
Table flipper. Table flip.
And one of our warrior women are right here, Paula, Dread, aka Little Dreadhead, always with that bullhorn giving you hell.
Amber. It's a big table flipper.
And we got the infamous Amber Sherman.
Oh no, are you sure it's Black Lives Matter? Oh, Lord.
Who don't give no, you know what? Russ, I'm respecting the Civil Rights Museum. But Amber, who is one of our strong organizers in the community, anything that this family needed,
Paul Anderson said, "Who the hell is Sybil?"
Anything this family needed,
he said, "Cause I'm
she was there to organize and to mobilize and put it together and help make the whole team of activists and organizers work."
Yeah.
I'm creeping through this.
And then last but not least, we got this fireball over here, this loose cannon over here. Now, Russ, I asked her not to cuss nobody out. I don't know how good my word is with her, but LJ Abraham, who really is a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
So don't get struck out here. But since we're on the topic of activists, I wanted to give a couple of these activists an opportunity
What the hell is this? Justin?
to speak their piece.
When did Justin know what's going on?
Not for Tyre Nichols.
No.
He's doing for his own.
And the hell with you, Joe Button? He's a goddamn tether too.
No selfish black reasons, I think.
Oh, did you see? Cuz did you see Joe Button's against reparations with his tether self?
I think he's a tether.
All right, Lady Che, what are your final thoughts on Tyre Nichols' murder trial and 3 of the officers who pled not guilty getting acquitted by an all-white jury out of Chattanooga?
I think that in itself is bullshit.
I said they probably win.
I have to ask, like, did the jury even see the video?
You know that's what they went to go eat. I don't know if they even made it admissible in the court.
Because this video's hard. That video was all the evidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Did they even watch the videos? Like, that's one. Two, I feel that an all-white jury was definitely not behooving to them.
Hell no.
And there's two sides picking a jury.
Yeah.
So both sides picked the white jury.
Yeah. The preliminary challenge, that's what they got.
Two, I think that the jury, once they got picked, I feel like the jury was bought. Like bought and paid for to go in that direction. Because you mean to tell me there was not one motherfucker that felt anything and had to go with that?
They got a whole change of venue and went to all-white county.
Not one individual saw that and was like, "Oh, that's a little bit past excessive." You know what I mean? Not one motherfucker? Not one? That's crazy.
No,
not even a little doubt?
If you had doubt, you got kicked off the jury pool.
Like, Jesus Christ. And then, there's got to be some better vetting and shit. Sometimes, I think that, how could these motherfuckers go out every day, live daily lives, and nobody did nothing, or put hands on them, or ran them off into the street, and,
I'm assuming they relocated out of Memphis. I don't think they're living in Memphis any longer since that went down.
They're able to get other jobs somewhere else, and that's exactly why I feel like a crime bill is more than necessary, especially now.
Right.
Making anything like that a sign of active terrorism, anti-black terrorism. Even if I was shocked when I first seen it. I was like, y'all are black. Like,
right.
5, 6 black people. Black dudes?
5 black dudes and 1 white dude. 5 black dudes
and 1 white dude. Like, come on, cuz, and the bitch that sent him out is a black chick. Like, come on, y'all. Like, this is fucking wrong.
Yeah, like, a mammy, but she's black nonetheless.
You would have thought that racism, white supremacy would have wanted them motherfuckers off the street, found guilty. Like most white folk do.
But
guilty.
It's the police.
Because they're the police.
Or former police.
Or they paid them off. One of the two is my guess. And that's just I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Hot boy statement. I don't know if that's fact or not. But I feel like it. I feel like the only way you get a fucking result like that is if it's bought and paid for.
Mm-hmm.
And then political fucking church theater outside.
There's something about
that ain't gonna do nothing for nobody after that. You know what I mean?
It's just something about they wanted to move the venue because of pre-trial something.
Because of the fucking publicity.
Pre-trial publicity.
We didn't really know that the trial was going on. So what publicity? You know what I mean? If we would have known the trial was going on, somebody would have been hip to it. Someone in the black media to talk about it. We know the trial was really going on. Nobody said anything. Not like we've been distracted. We've just been chilling. So we've got open ears to that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then I think too, what kind of justice can you get now? No justice, no peace. The only justice can be had is.
Oh, they on that shit because Ben Crump is representing the family.
Yeah, no justice, no peace. What do you mean? They've had peace this whole time.
So they trying to get a bag. That's why they talking like that.
But I thought the family, did take something or not.
Well, if Ben Crump is on the case, then yeah, that's why they talking like that.
Because after that, we were like, we're not standing up for nobody took anything from the county or the state yet. Because they're not serious. They just are getting the money. If you really gave a fuck, that money don't mean dick.
Right. That money not gonna bring your family member back.
Right. Right. Exactly. So I just think that it's I think it's shit. And then I thought it was even more weird that there was no protesting behind it, like black people protesting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, when we usually do when there's an upset in a trial or something. Man, let it get like Watts or something. You know what I mean? Shit's just fucking crazy. Like, I just couldn't. First of all, I couldn't fathom the motherfucking video. That's how a black man treat another black man. No compassion, no nothing.
The latest update is they're gonna civilly sue them for $550 million.
That's a random number.
The trial for the other two officers who pled guilty is going to begin next year in July.
We gotta wait another year.
Yeah. They said that the $550 million civil lawsuit may bankrupt the city of Memphis. Oh, well. Trial set for July 2026 for $550 million civil lawsuit. Oh, the mother is suing the city of Memphis. Okay. So they haven't got no money yet. They're suing them now. Let me check. What else are the final thoughts?
Doesn't matter. We gotta wait all year. And either way, what the fuck is all that, man? All that money, what the fuck is all that money gonna do?
I think your brother's going to sleep.
Yeah.
Close the door.
I just think it's a lot of bullshit. If that case goes like that, then something else is gonna go like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was a lot. Like, did they not watch that video? Dude, like, the evidence is right there. There was no burden of proof to prove. They clearly did that.
Okay. Was that your final thoughts?
That's my thoughts on it so far. I don't like the political church theater either.
Yeah. Well, it's Memphis. That's the Bible Belt. So, and with Ben Crump on the case, that's what they're gonna do. Every case that Ben Crump takes, the family gets to. I'm just glad they didn't get to doing that forgive shit. That really would have been bad. Oh, we forgive you.
Where's Kamala? Where's Al Sharpton too? Because remember when they went to the funeral, they were all gung ho about Biden was gonna sign the motherfucking George Floyd Act. Woo, woo, woo. You know, pandering in the black church.
Yeah, that was all wolf tickets.
Majorly. Like, where are they on this verdict? You know what I mean?
Nowhere to see found.
Like, I was surprised the verdict's been out, what, all day?
Past 2 days.
Past 2 days? Surely Al Sharpton would have something to say.
Surely. Right.
Surely. I don't like it. It's too late now. Now they're acting like nothing else that can be done about these three. Well, there is. They could get like crazy like Watts.
Yeah. And they can lose whatever money that they're gonna gain for the rest of their life. Like I said, the mom is suing them for $550 million. Suing the whole city of Memphis. So I wish you could take it directly off them piggies' pensions instead of out the taxpayers, because that's gonna come out of taxpayers' pockets. And she wins. And that's pending. So but yeah, that damn chief needs to go.
She's still working?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? See, you know that this is bullshit.
That like, damn mayor needs to go.
They never fired her.
No.
They never released her from her duty. Man, you know that's some bullshit. Because no way, dude, in a just city, that after that shit happened, she should have been able to keep her motherfucking job.
Right.
Especially with her history.
Especially.
Other states.
Yeah, like Georgia.
Yeah. You know what I mean? There's no fucking way. She should have been able to captain or chief or whatever the fuck she is.
Yeah, she's chief. And she's married to a straight up pedo.
So I'm not being front. I'm thinking she's sucking and fucking her way through that shit. Keep her motherfucking job.
She's a straight up bad wench.
I mean, why else?
Yeah, so shame on you.
Keep your job, and white police officers there too. They should have been on that helmet to get her out.
Right.
You know what I mean? On the premise that it's a bad look.
Right.
Something ain't right, family. That we only get 10% of the information, if that, and it's at pieces and at will whenever they want to give it to us. So we really don't know the whole ins and outs, the backstories and shit, because that'd be too much research. At the same time, it's like, man, this shit, if you're gonna do the news, just come correct all the way around. What happened? Is why is this bitch still employed?
Right.
How can she still run a department?
Right.
When nobody's just because you call for her to get fired doesn't mean that's a real activity. Anyway, because I've been saying fire fucking a couple of people for like the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's more like a suggestion or a request, like a suggestion, commentary. You know what I mean? Sometimes I've been saying audits, and all of a sudden, 3 years later, they want to do it.
Yeah.
They fired Cole Chandler. They fired fucking Britt,
Britta Fisher.
whatever the fuck her name is.
Like the Britta, like the water filter.
Yeah, they fired her. They fired anybody of relevance. Fucking remember the old mayor's deputy?
Oh.
Do I look like a muskrat or
Evan Dreyer.
Evan Dreyer still giving reports.
Yeah. The face has changed, but the administration remained the same.
Half the administration is still the same, and it's still corrupt.
Yeah.
But if you would have won, we would have cleaned house.
Yeah.
If you would have won, we would have cleaned everybody. Everybody would have to get fired.
Mm-hmm. And then these motherfuckers want to raise, but we'll cover that on Front Line Blacc News on our regular edition. So yeah, thank y'all for tapping in. I'm gonna close this out because it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm about to pass out again. So please join us on Saturday for our regularly scheduled Front Line Blacc News. In the meantime, make sure y'all like and subscribe to all of our platforms, Front Line Blacc News on YouTube and Facebook.
Well, say something.
Oh, go ahead, Lady J.
Real fast. I'm be doing like this little possible short video in the next day or so, because I got some shit going on outside my apartment building that I don't like, and then we're gonna go on a cruise around the neighborhood and see what's cracking. But my building, I don't like what's going on, so I'm gonna do a little cruise and check it out at nighttime, during the night. I'm trying to figure out what to do, so it's either at night or early in the morning, but I want to figure it out. So we're gonna go cruise. We're gonna leave my building and go for a little cruise around the neighborhood. Check it out. So, and then third Saturday we're gonna be
Peace.
Peace, cause then we're gonna be at an event. So you might get to hear. Actually, you get to hear me speak.
Yeah, I'm gonna record it.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty.
That'll be before the Front Line Blacc News regular scheduled show. So we will see y'all then. Yeah. So in the meantime, make sure y'all. Thank you for that, Lady J. So in the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe to all of our platforms, Front Line Blacc News on YouTube and Facebook, The Revolutionary Agenda on YouTube and Facebook. And we will see y'all on Saturday. So peace, love, light, reparations, and separations, and Black empowerment. Chan Kuma and Lady Trey signing out from the Mile High Income An illegal migrant flooded city and a sundown town known as Aurora, Colorado. Peace.